2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Let me know if you could hear me. Hi, everybody. Happy Monday. How's everybody doing? I think I got too much red on. No, now I have too much. Now I have less. Hi, guys. How was everybody weekend? Honey, I made an appointment to get my hair did this week. These little cornrows got to come out. I think it's been 2 weeks. Yes, it did its job. It did its job, honey, but it's ready to come out, honey. I got to wash, deep condition it, and let my hairstylist lay his hands on it. Give me that silk press. Yes. Okay, thank you, Connecting Rabbi Holes, Terrence. Yes, James. So we have a good show, honey, because speaking of hair, my monologue is about Michelle Obama talking about black hair. Yes, the crown, honey. And then I got to play Megyn Kelly clip clapping at Michelle Obama because she tired of Michelle Obama and her elitist ass talking about black women problems, right? However, Epstein files, Epstein. Y'all will not let it go. So now Congress is voting to release 50,000 pages. Trump said release them. The hell with national security, if there really was one. Honey, we got to talk about Candace because she is exposing Turning Point USA. Yes. What is she calling it? Airplane mocking something, or mocking airplane something. We got to talk about her. And I have a guest. Yes. We have a guest. He's been here before. Yes, he has. And we got to talk about Fanny, Mr. Jonathan Chavez. He'll be coming up in the second hour because we got a Fanny Willis update and letting us know what's going on in the state of Georgia. And, if we have time, I want to talk about Charlotte's Web. That is ICE landed in Charlotte, North Carolina. And they already arrested 150 people over the weekend. Yeah. And the Department of Justice will revoke naturalization citizenship for people who commit crimes. So let's start with Michelle, honey. I do see the judge backstage, but he is not set up yet. So I'll wait for him to set up. I need you guys to share this video. Shout out to everybody on X. On X, please repost on X and bookmark and like. Everybody else, share it on all your social media outlets. Email it to a friend, text it to a friend, and like. Thumbs up. And get in the chat and comment. Right? I like when y'all comment. So let's get into Michelle Obama. And Judge, whenever I see you get situated, I will bring you in because I don't want to bring you in and people trying to be nosy looking all through your house because people are nosy. Okay, we're not doing. Okay, Leah, let's do this. No, not this one. Okay, I need this one. So we're going to start here because Michelle Obama loves to talk about black hair, black girl hair. So let me play a couple of clips. Oops. Wait a minute. Why this audio is coming out of there, honey? What is going on? Oh, no. What is going on here? Oh no. There we go. And I think I sound better. Okay. Let's try it again.
Want to know, well, what do braids mean? What does she mean? Look, y'all.
What does she mean?
It's what, I mean, that's how white folks are. It's like, what does that mean? What are you saying? We're saying nothing except I just don't want to have to do my hair every day. And I want to go swimming. I don't want to have to worry about it. Let me explain something to white people. Our hair comes out of our head naturally in a curly pattern. So when people worry about it, let me explain something to white people. Our hair comes out of our head naturally in a curly pattern. So when we're straightening it to follow your beauty standards, we are trapped by the straightness. That's why so many of us can't swim and we run away from the water. People won't go to the gym because we're trying to keep our hair straight for y'all. It is exhausting and it's so expensive and it takes up so much time. Braids are for y'all so we can work harder and focus on the work. So why do we need an act, an act of law to tell white folks to get out of our hair? Don't tell me how to wear my hair. Don't wonder about it. Don't touch it. Just don't. It just.
So let me bring in the judge. Hi, can you hear me?
I hear you. That was so tragically filled with stupidity and self-hate. I am disappointed. I remember the young women when I was a young man wearing afros, and I remember all of my trips to the Caribbean where we had all of the dive assistants, divers, and dive masters who were women, the photographers that took pictures and did the video underwater during shark dives, and they didn't have to go through that. That just sounded so incredibly stupid. Like, nothing's wrong with black women except the foolishness in the heads of some that think something's wrong with what they have. And you don't need any of these laws like they have in New York saying that you can wear natural hair. Nobody had objections to that. They had objection to somebody doing something and didn't wash it for 6 to 7 weeks and it smelled like a dumpster. I mean, hey, that's got nothing to do with anything other than lack of pride and laziness. But anyhow, that woman aggravates me.
Well, she aggravates me too, because here's the problem though, because okay, there has been a thing for a long time in corporate America to where you had to present a certain look if you wanted to work your way up the corporate ladder. So I understand what she's saying, but it's the wrong messenger. You are an elitist, and she's trying to relate to regular black women. Do I think we need a crown act? No, because I didn't, listen, if you want to wear braids as long as it's decent,
Just wear afro.
That's out of style.
Well, I
However,
mean, who says it's out of style?
I don't want to go off topic,
No,
but
no, I'm not going off topic. See,
okay,
what strikes me as a man.
women says it's out of style because we're not
Okay, well,
wearing.
hold on. What strikes me as a man is foolish. Is I have seen the beautiful and also absurdly ugly styles that women have decided to put in their heads that some gay boy in Paris decided to say was trendy, which I think is absolutely stupid. You deal with somebody that don't even like Nookie telling you what Nookie is supposed to look
Oh no,
like,
they
and
know
you
they
don't realize it, and then you say, I'm doing this for me, not for some man, but secretly you are, or at least that's what's
all right,
supposed
and
to
I said
be.
I'm
Now
not
hold
trying to
on, hold on, hold on.
no, I'm not trying to
Hold
reel
on.
off.
What's wrong with your afro?
Then let me tell you. Let me tell you. Let me tell you.
Go
Stop
ahead.
talking. Stop talking. Because this is about women in our hair. This is really not a conversation for you. This is the monologue.
We got to look at it. Yeah, it is. You
So
either get
again,
laid or you don't get laid.
whether
You
you
find
have
a
whether
husband
yes,
or
you have to
boyfriend,
look at it.
you
You have to
don't.
look at somebody's face. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, you do.
Number one, number one, it is what we like first. So if a man likes it, or if a man doesn't like it and we like it, we're still gonna wear it. So
I know that's why it's so fucked up today.
we're not doing
So
it. We're
anyway,
not doing it for
I
you.
got that.
However, the point that I'm trying to make as far as her, I understand what she's saying, because Listen, our hair is maintenance. Women of all background, hair is maintenance, period. It's just maintenance. That's part of being a woman. Yes, we are vanity driven. You could complain about it. You could have your own opinions. We don't care. We're going to get our hair done the way we want to get our hair done. No, we're not wearing an afro no more. Women evolved from the afro since the 70s. So that's not in style. Now, there are some women who are wearing afro-ish hairstyles, but again, it's what a woman likes. What she is talking to is corporate America, but she hasn't been in corporate America in so long. And I remember the time when Michelle Obama said she wished she could have wore braids when she was first lady, and she wanted to, but she was hesitant because our society here in America wasn't ready for that, especially white people. And I'm calling BS on that, because especially on the last term, she could have wore braids and it could have looked very pretty and very professional and very conservative. And it would have made a statement to your hair is your hair and don't be ashamed of it. So that was BS of her to say, oh, she felt that America wasn't ready for a first lady to wear braids. But it's okay for you to wear it now. Her whole stance is she is pandering to Black women to get accepted in Black women's society, because she doesn't live a life of an average Black woman. She is an elitist. She is wealthy. She is well connected. And she's been living that way for a very long time.
Yeah, alternate between looking like a fool with a mop in your head and looking like Jasmine Crockett with a wig hat on and doing what you do. And the wig hat looks unnatural to this. See, I heard all of this when I was graduating from high school. And then I saw how it evolved in 18 to 24 months to something else, to the afro, because people said, I'm Black and I'm proud, and I like the way I naturally look when my hair is natural, the way it goes into place when I comb it, wash it, brush it, oil it, and do the other things just to keep it in good, healthy
So
condition.
what
And
did you say to the women who stopped wearing afros in the late 70s and then going into
well,
the 80s?
it's
Women
like,
evolved from that. So were you complaining
look,
then
look,
too?
look,
It
look.
sounds like you're complaining.
Women all over the world have gotten into their hair thing, and for most of the time, what hair is simply a picture frame for a picture. If the painting is nice, one doesn't pay a whole lot of attention to the frame it's contained in. Same thing with a good-looking woman can get away with wearing damn near anything, except some things might not be for the body type or whatever it may be. Now, women impress most men as being somewhat silly. They alter about these kind of things, and that's the way men used to talk about women when you got in male society. However, the boys don't get exposed to grown men much, so all they hear is the mama, aunt, grandmama, friend girl side. Now, um,
So I want to
you
play.
name the
Wait.
society, and
One
women
second,
do all kinds of things about
Judge,
their
wait,
hair.
one
All right, so
second.
it
We
is what
cannot,
it is with
we can't
some
stay
of
on
them.
this subject too long. I need to play two
I
more
got it,
clips
but
before we get
I'm
into
just
the main
emphasizing.
theme. Yeah, it's my monologue,
Look
so
good for
you don't
men,
gotta
and you'll be
elaborate.
more
No, we're gonna look
satisfied.
good for ourselves first.
So what? What are you gonna do?
I know
Masturbate?
it's so what for you, but
I
the
know. What
fact
are women
is,
gonna do?
women
Masturbate?
are going to look good for
I know, but
ourselves
I
first.
got all that rhetoric that has come about
So
in
it's
recent.
rhetoric to you, but not to
And I
us.
heard the rhetoric back in the early 60s, right after the
So
50s,
listen,
too.
let me say this
Like,
then,
what are you going
because if a woman is not comfortable in her own skin, if she doesn't feel confident, it doesn't matter what you think, because you're not going to be attracted to a woman who is not confident in her own skin. So when we get dressed, when we do our hair, we do it for ourselves first. Do we like it? And if we like it, that projects to society, because you're seeing a confident woman. Now you may say, "Oh, she's pretty, but the hair look jacked up." That's fine. But it starts with the woman. So I don't know what happened to him. Somebody probably called him. He'll come back in a sec. I don't know what happened. You need to go out and come back in. Thank you. So I want to play Megyn Kelly. This was actually a couple of weeks ago. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I hear you. I hear you now. This studio restream has a function where you can say leave and then join immediately without having to go back through the whole process.
All right.
Okay.
So I'm going to play this Megyn Kelly clip real quick.
Here's Michelle Obama, who's promoting a new book on her special fashion, and sat down with People magazine and said the following in SOT 26.
Hair as women of color, that the way our hair naturally grows out of our head is beautiful, but if we struggle to make it look like the standard, that means we are spending thousands of hours and lots of money straightening out what is naturally curly hair, right? And that takes time out of your life. It costs money.
Okay. So what she's saying is she's bitter because society's standards, in her view, don't allow Black women to just walk around with their natural hair. That is bullshit. Black women can walk around with whatever hair they want. Only in Michelle Obama's warped mind do white people not like them unless their hair looks like white hair. And here's the other thing. The nerve of this woman to pretend that Black women are the only women who have to spend a bunch of time getting their natural hair to, quote, conform to these alleged society standards, because virtually every woman I know, every woman spends a shit ton of time on her hair and wants it to look better than God made it. It's not a Black thing. It's a human thing, and it's especially a woman thing. But she's always reducing everything to race.
I agree.
Oh,
I've
I didn't mean
seen
to go
white
out of that.
women, Asian women, Mexican women. I've seen Indian women. They spend a lot of time on their hair. African women,
Judge,
European women, whatever.
give me a second. Give me a second, because this is my monologue. So I need you to talk less, because it's not about you. It's not. This conversation about me and women.
Yeah, and
So,
we have to look
I
at
agree with Megyn Kelly. Why? Because women, period, are high maintenance. Whether it's our hair, whether it's, our body, clothes, shoes, we invest in those things. Invest meaning we spend a whole lot of money and a whole lot of time. And yes, for the record, white women, they spend a lot of money on their hair. They wear wigs, they wear hair clips, they wear hair weaves, they get the highlights, they do it all. It's just that we have different textures, right? So yeah, Black women don't go into the water or whatever in general, because we don't want to mess up our hair, because if it messed up, then we can't just blow it and it'd be flowy. It's just too much involved. I get all that. However, I have to agree with Megyn Kelly and Michelle Obama a lot of times make it about race. But when it comes to the hair, that is across the board. But Black women have been discriminated or treated a certain kind of way for our hair in corporate workspaces. That is true. That's true. But as First Lady, she should have wore the braids in that second term to push back against those stereotypes. That's what I'm saying.
last time I went in a corporate office, I saw very, very few Black men and many, many more Black females or Black women. That's the style. If you just get down to male, female, only 44% of the American workforce is male. 56% is female, and it's worse when you come to Black people or American Blacks or Black Americans. Now, the thing that gets me is this bullshit that is developed where the opposite sex has absolutely no concern with or be of concern when it comes to setting style or fashion. All through the animal kingdom, all through the current and fossil records, you see what has happened when male and female of a given species do things that attract the opposite sex. The deal is you are born, you grow up, you procreate, you raise the offspring, you die. And that cycle goes on over and over again. And it's absolutely ridiculous to try and say you remove yourself or what the species norm is from it. It doesn't work. It's not meant to be. And
Hello. He froze. Can you guys hear me? Oh my God. Can you guys still hear me? Testing, testing, testing. All right. Okay, yeah. You guys can hear me. I don't know. He just froze. Okay, he went out. He's gonna come back in. I don't know. Uh braided mohawk in general public setting, by the way. Yeah. I was gonna do a poll. Okay, you guys can hear me good. Yeah, he froze up. I don't know if I know if somebody was calling him or and like I most likely you're gonna have to stop using Restream and probably just go and use Zoom permanently. I don't know. Um it's just I gotta try different streaming software to see what works not just with me, because it works with me, but what works with other people coming on, because it may not be compatible with their phone or their desktop. I don't know, but restreams can be a little funky. No, I did not mute him. I did not mute him. He froze. And so he dropped out and now he has to come back in. I didn't mute him. I wouldn't do that. He was talking, so I'm not going to mute him. He literally just froze. So I don't know what the problem is. Because I want to get into the Epstein story. Oh, honey, it's getting messy. But my thing is, okay, so when the 50,000 pages come out, what y'all gonna do? There you go. Can you hear me?
I hear you. That was a new one.
Yeah, you
I'm in
just froze
my
up.
I'm in my house and it says my phone needs to cool down before it will function again.
You know
How
what? You
that
must have been on your phone. Were you on your phone all day?
No, I wasn't.
Yes, you were. That's
No,
why it's
I
hot, because you were using it.
no, I wasn't using it. I wasn't even reading on it. So I was working on something and my phone was laying on a countertop
So
in
you want to
a
finish
cool
up what you're
area.
saying, because I need to get into the Epstein.
Okay, I'm just saying that it's the natural order of life for the opposite sex to attract each other. You are born, you grow up, you mature, you procreate, or you go through the motions of procreating, and then you die. So that's generation after generation from cave to condominium. So it seems kind of silly for somebody to not you so much, but it seems silly for one half of the human race to deny that the driving engine for the whole human race is not of concern. And I don't attribute that to you. I attribute it to the propaganda that the rainbow crowd has been insidiously inserting into life in the United States over the last half century. Tell a lie long enough, loud enough, you can get anyone, including the liar, to believe it. And women have always been concerned with how men saw them, and men have always been concerned with how women saw them because it leads to the happy exchange of nookie and D. And that's what it's all about. So when it gets away from that, it's kind of crazy. Now, my point was very briefly, women do all kinds of crazy things with hairstyles. I don't care what brand or color of woman it is. No.
Turn your phone to be wide.
Okay, I'm holding it up so it keeps cool. It's unusually hot. I don't think the subject is that hot, but the phone is very warm.
Well,
And I'm
this
trying to
subject,
figure out why this thing is overheating like this.
because you probably got some stuff in the background running.
No, I don't have any. What's in the background running? I
No,
don't.
like if you maybe you have apps open that you didn't close out before if you were
No,
using
I
it.
don't have any apps in the background running. It was
All right.
just sitting on the countertop. So
Well, let's get into what's really hot in these streets,
what is that?
the Epstein files.
Why is that hot?
Because everybody and their mama all over the world is talking about it.
So what? What difference is it gonna make?
They want them to release.
I got it, but what difference is it gonna make?
So listen, Congress is going to be voting tomorrow to release. They're expected to vote tomorrow on Tuesday on a measure that will compel the Justice Department to make publicly available in a searchable and downloadable format all files pertaining to Epstein within 30 days.
That may or may not work because we've got the separation of powers: judiciary, legislative, and executive. And the Justice Department is part of the executive. So when you allow one branch of the triumvirate of governmental branches to dictate to the other, you start trampling on the Constitution. So I'm sure the Epstein files will come out eventually. I'm sure what's going to happen is it's going to be a great disappointment. And all of the inquiring minds that just have to know are not going to find anything very satisfying, or they're going to find all kinds of clues that the conspiracists will try to put together and say this is pointing to this, that, and the other. And I don't know. It's like a distraction. Does it reduce the price of gas? The ridiculous price of food, the horrible things you're having to pay in a restaurant now to get what you used to be able to get at a good restaurant. You're playing at Mickey D's. You see the articles that are saying that the poor folk and the lower class folk can't afford to go to Mickey D's now because it costs too much. Stuff like that is what counts. And Epstein files don't have a damn thing to do with it now.
Well, Trump, he took questions and he said that he is for it, for them to vote. And he's like, okay, release the file. So I want to play a couple of minutes of this.
Yeah, them to vote, fine. Or is this
Well,
stuff?
he said he would sign the bill
Yeah,
to
I know he
release the
said he
Epstein file.
signed it, but is this another dodge? And what we're really looking at is the files are not so much being sequestered by the Department of Justice, which is under him, meaning President Trump, but under some sanction that Congress has put on another situation that everybody's trying to say it ain't our fault, it's their fault, their fault. Nobody wants to claim up, and then so what if they do?
All right, let me play this.
To clarify something you posted on Truth Social last night, you urged House Republicans to vote in favor of this Epstein release bill they're going to vote on tomorrow. I just want to be super clear on your position. Do you want to see that pass the Senate? Would you sign that bill if it gets to your desk?
I do want to. Here's what I want. We have nothing to do with Epstein. The Democrats do. All of his friends were Democrats. You look at this Reid Hoffman, you look at Larry Summers, Bill Clinton, they went to his island all the time, and many others. They're all Democrats. All I want is for people to recognize the great job that I've done on pricing, on affordability, because we brought prices way down, but they go way lower, on energy, on ending 8 wars and another one coming pretty soon, I believe. We've done a great job. And I hate to see that deflect from the great job we've done. So I'm all for it. You know, we've already given 50,000 pages. You do know that. Unfortunately, like with the Kennedy situation, with the Martin Luther King situation, not to put Jeffrey Epstein in the same category, but no matter what we give, it's never enough. You know, with Kennedy, we gave everything and it wasn't enough. With Martin Luther King, we gave everything and it's never enough. We've already given, I believe the number is 50,000 pages, 50,000 pages. And it's just a Russia hoax as it pertains to the Republicans. Now, I believe that many of the people that some of the people that we mentioned are being looked at very seriously for their relationship to Jeffrey Epstein, but they were with him all the time. I wasn't at all. And we'll see what happens. What I just don't want Epstein to do is detract from the great success of the Republican Party, including the fact that the Democrats are totally blamed for the shutdown. You know, they cost our country hundreds of billions of dollars with that, at a lot of inconvenience. So I'm for I don't, they can do whatever they want. We'll give them everything. Sure I would. Let the Senate look at it, let anybody look at it. But don't talk about it too much because honestly, I don't want to take it away from us. It's really a Democrat problem. The Democrats were Epstein's friends, all of them. And it's a hoax. The whole thing is a hoax. And I don't want to take it away from really the greatness of what the Republican Party has accomplished over the last period of time. Yeah,
yeah, it's a dodge. In other words, it detracts attention from an F up. You have had the seat of power and you've done nothing with it except mess up. You want something to distract attention from that fact. So again, what does it have to do with the price of anything that you have to pay today or the conditions that you have to deal with? Nothing. It's exactly what I said. Now, there's one interesting thing here. I do understand all the problems with the assassinations of John and Robert Kennedy and Martin Luther King. There's just one thing nobody officially wants to ask me because I'm the one person in this country that figured out what happened because I had access to everything in the James Earl Ray file, and I just put it together because the people that had been looking at it didn't have the knowledge base to do much with it. So I know what happened, and I'll tell you right now very quickly. J. Edgar Hoover and the FBI recruited a two-man snipers team from the Quantico, Virginia Marine Sniper School, right across the tarmac from the FBI Training Academy. They supplied the weapon, which was an XM-21, the ammunition, and they had the whole scene cased out, and they had the shot taken from the fire station second floor with this two-man hit team, and they covered it up. And James Earl Ray was one of 4 or 5 patsies and was the most convenient one, and they ran through the game, and they were responsible for doing the investigation and of course they didn't implicate themselves, and they killed King not for civil rights, but because they were worried about him galvanizing the anti-war movement and revitalizing labor. Okay. The big debate was whether he would be more dangerous as a dead martyr or as a live agitator who would revitalize labor and galvanize the anti-war thing.
All right. Now, well, getting back to the Epstein files. So something else came out which was very interesting because back in 2019 during a congressional hearing with Michael Cohen, I believe that was Trump's former lawyer, a Democratic representative from the Virgin Islands, Representative Plaskett, she was actually being texted by Epstein during a congressional hearing, and he was telling her what to say or what to ask Michael Cohen during a congressional hearing. So I want to play that clip.
By the way, do you know how often it happens? That happens most of the time because most of the people that are in Congress are answerable to somebody besides their constituents. And she could.
Well, if you why do you have a pedophile texting you during a congressional hearing?
Why
This
do
was
you
when
have
Barack
any
Obama
of the
was
number
Wait,
of
president
let,
people
let's
that you
let's
have?
just let's hear it. Let's hear it. Let's hear it. Let me play it. Let me play it.
of the United States. And while we were once driving through a struggling neighborhood in Chicago, he commented that only black people could live that way. Attorney-client privilege, yes, I will turn it over.
You, as my friend Mr. Meadows pointed out, misled this committee even today in a written submission that contradicted your testimony. You have suggested you are going to review that. Are you going to review it in our next break to correct the record, yes or no?
Yes.
Question,
I can't
you
hear
helped out the
anything.
president's campaign or were involved in the campaign as a rep.
Is there something playing?
Yes, there's something playing. Give me a
I
second.
can't hear it. It's nothing.
Give me a second. You probably gonna have to go out and come back in if you can't hear it. But let me switch.
Accurate, yes or no?
Yes.
Mr.
Do you hear that?
No,
I go out and come back in because it's not me, it's you.
it is me.
Involved in the campaign as a representative, as a spokesman, even in your words today, it was your.
All right, let's see.
Again.
All right, let's see. Let me know if you can hear.
Or were involved in the campaign as a representative, as a
Can you hear that?
spokesman, even in your
Very
words today, it
faintly.
was your idea for the campaign dating back to 2011. Is that accurate, yes or no?
Yes.
Did you hear that?
Yes, I did. It's your idea for the campaigning came dating back to
Right.
2011. Yes.
This was when Barack Obama was president of the United States. And while we were once driving through a struggling neighborhood in Chicago, he commented that only black people could live that way. Attorney-client privilege, yes, I will turn it over.
You, as my friend Mr. Meadows pointed out, misled this committee even today in a written submission that contradicted your testimony. You have suggested you are going to review that. Are you going to review it in our next break to correct the record, yes or no?
Yes.
Question, you helped out the president's campaign or were involved in the campaign as a representative, as a spokesman, even in your words today, it was your idea for the campaign dating back to 2011. Is that accurate, yes or no?
Yes.
Mr. Weisenberg and other individuals, Ms. Rona. Who are those individuals? Are they with the Trump organization?
They
and
are.
Are there other people that we should be meeting with?
So Alan Weisselberg is the chief financial officer.
Uh-huh.
The
You got to
Trump
quickly give us
organization.
as many names as you can so we can get to them.
Yes, ma'am.
As Ms. Rona, what is Ms. Rona's position?
Rona Graff is Mr. Trump's executive assistant.
And would she be able to corroborate many of the statements that you've made here?
Yes, her office is directly next to his, and she's involved in a lot.
So as she is asking that question, who is Rona, he then texts her 2 minutes later saying, good work. So he was basically coaching her to ask Michael Cohen specific questions that goes against Trump, because this was during the time when they were really trying to go out.
It happens all the time.
So what happens all the time?
What you're hearing?
A person is not a politician.
Somebody uses access to a congressional or senatorial representative, and they call them while proceedings are going on, and they suggest questions, they demand questions, they want answers, and somebody says this is a VIP constituent, so they try to respond.
What are you talking about?
In other words, I have done something like that on occasion because
you cannot wait. You cannot text a sitting congressperson while they're in the middle of a congressional hearing to question, because you're telling her what to ask that person.
Most of them are too stupid to know what to ask. They're being told what to say, and their 23-year-old assistant.
Wait, Judge, what I'm saying is it's not her assistant, it's not her aide, it's not a colleague.
But it's not a courtroom. There is no sanction.
That is against protocol.
But there's no law.
Procedure.
There's nothing that says you can't do it. I don't think there's any rules.
It is. Well, you don't know if that you can't
I'm just saying that when they used to have congressional sessions, when somebody would be up in the gallery, they'd be shouting stuff down to people to ask somebody. I mean, it used to be a lot more primitive. They got more dignified, but I mean, nowadays there's nothing illegal about calling somebody on a cell
So
phone.
that's like if you are, well, it's okay, it's not like a lawyer, right? Because a lawyer can get a note passed to them to
That's only if the court says you can't.
okay. If well, that's if the court say you can or can't.
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 Usually, all the time, there are notes passed and forth. I mean, I've seen it go on in the courtroom, done it, where a note gets
So,
passed by
but
your
here's the
investigator
question
over
though.
the bar.
But so here's the question that's a blurred line there. Can an outside person that has no authority, no jurisdiction, no connection whatsoever to Congress at all or government text someone from their personal cell to their personal cell, say, ask him this?
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. See, in
So
other
that's
words,
I think that's your opinion.
no, it's not. Let me explain why very quickly. Congressmen and senators solicit letters from their constituents all the time about the opinions. They have solicitations. Write your congressman or your senator what you think about this. Sometimes the individual will bring in with him or her into the chamber the letters that have been written, the notes, the text, the emails, and they will look at them as they are questioning somebody. See, it's not just the representative or the senator. They represent us, a constituency in a congressional district. They represent a state. So what is happening is they are speaking for all of the people in their state, or all of the people, or a substantial number of the people in their district. So of course the district gets input into what their representative is up to on their behalf. So if one of them happens to be one of those people, like some of us are, who have numbers in our cell phones for members of the House or the U.S. Senate, you can just send them a text, ask this person so and so. It may be that you're functioning, which I have done in the past, as a close advisor to somebody who is sitting in one of these positions. So there never was a time when you could do it. It was just, it looked clumsy if you're doing it right there on the spot, but that's not saying that 10 minutes before, 5 minutes before, 5 days before, you had not been asked and you submitted what you wanted to say or suggested. Or I suppose now some congressman or congresswoman might, what do you think, Judge, about so and so? How about this for a question? Okay, try this one.
So okay, so let's just say it's not illegal and it's not going against their congressional procedure. But after that, he gets locked up for being a pedophile and a human trafficker.
Yeah,
So
but remember, you're innocent until you're proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. And as we have seen in the last 4 going on 5 years now, lawfare being applied, there are a lot of people that haven't done a damn thing. They've just been jacked around by people abusing the process of law for political and ideological purposes.
right.
So
So but I'm talking about this man had charges. He didn't go to trial yet because he ended up
kill
dying.
himself, but I mean, he was
But let me
technically,
let me let me finish here. So with all the evidence mounted, and then you have the victims coming out speaking out on what he did. You have Giselle Maxwell locked up. He was a human trafficker and a pedophile, right?
yeah, I mean,
So
but
now let me finish. So when this comes out that, oh, you had a very close relationship to a lot of Congress people, Democrats, texting them to ask certain questions to throw Trump under the bus. So now it does looks like the optics of it, and just plain as day. okay, so Epstein was really in cahoots with the Democrat Party and with certain politicians to throw Trump under the bus. And then come to find out he was a big time human trafficker and pedophile. So
Okay,
it
well,
doesn't
that's
look good for the
typical.
Democrats.
That's one of the accusations that's been hurled at the Democrats, and they hurl stuff back the opposite direction. Pedophilia is part of the democratic process. They deal with trannies and people who are mentally ill, think they're the opposite sex, and crazy stuff and all of the 9 yards, and thinks they support people and who want to put on sports bras and panties, but have swingers and want to go out and compete with the girls, or they have to have debates on how much face hair you can have and still use the girls' bathroom. But that's the Democratic Party. So they think they're doing well, and that these people are victimized because they're what the rest of us call perverts. So it is what it is. It's a point of view.
I want to play this last clip. It's a CNN panel talking about the Epstein files. And Tazlyn Figueroa, she actually hopped on one of the X Spaces like over a year ago. And she's very well versed in politics, boots to the ground, worked on a lot of campaigns and helped get a lot of people elected in local elections as well. So she was on the CNN panel. So I want to play this clip because, she's basically saying, okay, yeah, the Epstein's files are important, but we got to get back to business, and govern. So let me just play this clip.
Can I say this? Because this is important, because I don't let nobody play with my character like this, ma'am. I have never defended a pedophile. Let's hold up. No, wait a minute. I'm going to finish my statement. I'm going to finish my statement because we're going to get this clear on the record. I have never defended a pedophile, nowhere I ever. What I'm telling you is in the community that I represent, who are focused on jobs, housing, transportation, talking about these white men and these young girls.
Why is it that you can't never hear something?
I don't hear this. By the way, look at the hairstyle.
Can I say this? Because this is important, because I don't let nobody play with my character.
Do you hear that?
I heard something.
Like this, ma'am. I have never defended a pedophile. Let's hold up. No, wait a minute. I'm going to finish my statement. Because we're going to get.
You don't hear that? You don't hear that? Do you hear that? Did you
Not
hear?
a thing.
What? I can't. Because it's just messing up the flow of the show. Like, go out and come back in.
All right, I will, but I wasn't hearing it.
Like, and you got a new phone. Yeah. All right.
Try it again.
Stop.
Can I say this? Because this is important, because I don't let nobody play with my character like this, ma'am.
Did you hear that?
Yes, I
have never defended a pedophile. Let's hold up. No, wait a minute. I'm going to finish my statement. I'm going to finish my statement because we're going to get this clear on the record. I have never defended a pedophile, nowhere I ever. What I'm telling you is in the community that I represent, who are focused on jobs, housing, transportation, talking about these white men and these young girls they were sleeping with is not going to change their life at all. Wait a minute, because you've said enough. Hang on, guys. You release the files. Do it all.
Yes, we should
send people to jail. Do it all. What I'm here to tell you is there has to also be a focus on what is going to happen when healthcare goes up in January.
Absolutely.
What is going to happen with people who are jobs, housing, transportation. And the messaging has all been Epstein, and not enough on who are you running in the midterms that are actually going to change the lives of everyone.
Here's what we're going to do. We're going to hit pause on this again because I can promise you the government says, why do you think?
Listen, as an independent at this table, I am here to talk about the reality of what it is. I get it. It's not whether it's legal, not legal. I don't know if you're confused on what's going on with the Republican Party. They don't give a damn what consequence has to be paid in order to push their agenda. And Democrats, I'm warning you that if you think you're going to continue to just wag your finger at this party and say shame, 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 they don't care if it's pedophilia, whatever, they murder, whatever. They don't care. So if Democrats are using this as a way to say all of a sudden there's going to be some moral high ground that all of a sudden that these voters are going to switch. No, let me finish. That they're going to switch their opinion. It's simply not that. What's going on with the midterms? Who are you running in the midterms? What's happening on the state level, the federal level? My uncle died 24 hours ago. 24 hours ago because his sugar went down and his diabetic medication. Who's talking about that? Yeah, if you think that Epstein files is going to all of a sudden bring people to the polls, Donald Trump and the Republican Party, they're better at messaging the Democrats. Even when they're wrong, they're going to switch this. They're going to switch it back. And Democrats are going to still, listen, I think in the federal penitentiary, that's the only place you can go where actually pedophilia actually can get you killed. Inmates have a better, right? But guess what? Republicans are not that. At some point, you're going to have to deal with the reality of what it is. Pedophilia is the worst thing you can possibly ever be. But this Republican Party does not care. Donald Trump does not care. There's no embarrassment. I suggest Democrats do is get some messengers on your squad. Get behind the Jasmine Crockett's. Get behind Governor Newsom. Get behind folks who have the same energy, the same delivery as Donald Trump. Because whether it's right, wrong, indifferent, a lie, not a lie, he's going to run with that message and it's going to unite his base. And Democrats have to have an opposition. You're always working from the from the defense and not the offense. And midterms are coming up. I can't say it enough.
Offense and defense, no one plays that on this show, as I'm quickly learning. Thank you guys very, very much.
Interesting observations, except she says Newsom, who is an asshole, Jasmine Crockett, who is an asshole, and that's what we're supposed to rally behind is two individuals, one male, one female, that aggravates the shit out of most normal people. And
yeah, I was well up into that part.
Yeah, are you an American black or are you a black American? Where the operative noun is American or is the operative noun black? You know, black is ordinarily a descriptive, but some people want to make it, the woke folk want to make it the operative defining phrase. You are black before you're an American, but other folks say you're an American who happens to be black. A black American, white American, brown, red, yellow American, which is okay, rather than being an American black, which is the black is the thing and the American becomes the description. It's kind of interesting, but I can see where she's coming from. But the point is although she's right, she's still stuck on the plantation because she looks at people who just try to say you need an enema and you need a laxative. And when the shit pops out, floods out, squirts out, it stinks. So the country needs an enema and it needs a laxative. And the Democratic Party is not likely to do either administer a laxative or enema. They need one. They're clogging up the alimentary canal.
Republicans need to get it together as well.
Yeah, they do. But the Democrats are the shit clogging up the passageways.
Thank you for that description.
I used to be a lifetime Democrat for a long time, but I can't stand the whole thing now. It's just sickening.
Yeah, so I see the guests and I want to bring.
Honestly, I think it's deplorable where you need to have a debate on how much face hair you can have and still go in the girls' bathroom.
Give me a second.
Our guest, back from Atlanta.
Hello.
Mr. Jonathan Chavez, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Chavez, that's your last name, right?
Yes.
Um, so it's been over a year, right?
Almost exactly a year. Well, yeah, almost exactly a year.
Almost a year.
I think it was in
So
December last
of
time.
last year, December?
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay. Okay. I thought it was a little bit later, more than that, but glad to have you back.
Glad to be back.
So you reached out to me last week and you wanted to come on to talk about, I guess, Fannie Willis, but something along the line, not the Trump case with Fannie Willis so much, but you said it was another a related case dealing with Fannie Willis. But before we get into it, introduce yourself to the audience, or
Oh,
reintroduce yourself to the audience.
okay. My name is Jonathan Chavez. My professional life, actually a director at one of the large hospitals here in Georgia. What I do on the side is I run what's called a nonprofit called Georgia Coalition for Truth. And what we do is we help people who need help, basically, whatever it is, whether it's anything legal or anything like that. Me, myself, to be complicit, I do not have a legal background, but I do have people, paralegals, and other lawyers who kind of advise me on, things, matters, that come about. Also, I've kind of dabbled in the political realm a little bit, so I do have some very few political connections. But I mean, in this day and age, it seems like who doesn't have political connections nowadays? And that's pretty much about me.
Okay. So do you want to quickly give us a backstory? Because we do have another guest coming on that you did mention to me.
Yeah, John Salveson, he's a partner with me. So he kind of worked with me in the Georgia Coalition for Truth. There he is right there.
Hi, John.
Hey.
How are you?
How are you? Good to see you all.
Well, can you briefly introduce yourself as well before we get into, the meat of the conversation?
My name's John Salveson, running for Congress, U.S. Georgia 5 against Nikema Williams. And I ran in 24, lost. I'm doing it again in 26. And that's how Jonathan and I conglomerated together and then stumbled on this case that we're all working on.
Okay. So, Mr. Chavez, tell us about the case. Like what's going on? Because it seemed like this is Georgia, right?
Yeah, this is in Georgia.
Okay.
So it actually happened based off the last podcast I was on with you. So some people had seen the podcast with me, and they had reached out to me. The mother reached out about her son, Travion Reed, who was convicted. He was arrested in 2003 of a shooting, of which a young man lost his life. While he was awaiting trial in 2005, what appears to be kind of a revenge type situation, Travion was the victim of a shooting by Jermaine Smith and an accomplice. During that time, in the report, the police report actually put an arrest warrant out for Jermaine Smith and the accomplice. However, it came about later during an affidavit from Tasha Slaughter that she had testified under oath that she had seen Jermaine Smith with who was then ADA Fannie Willis at a football game. So there was alleged personal ties between ADA Fannie Willis and Jermaine Smith. Jermaine Smith and the accomplice was never arrested. They were never brought to trial. The charges were just eventually dropped, basically. So in 2006, Travion was convicted by ADA Willis. And then in 2009, turns out the GBI, the Georgia Bureau Investigation Examiner, Bernadette Davy, was fired and terminated as she admitted that she was falsifying ballistic reports on several cases. A private investigator was subsequently hired to look into this. And what the private investigator found is that Bernadette Davy had never even signed the chain of custody document for the bullet fragment. So there was no actually proof that Bernadette Davy even tested the ballistic fragment. However, in the 2006 trial, she had testified she was the ballistics examiner and that the ballistics report matched the gun that supposedly Travion Reed fired. So the family hired another attorney to pursue a CIU review of the case, citing that the forensic misconduct between Bernadette Davy that caused Travion Reed to be convicted. Upon asking for the bullet fragment to be retested, since Bernadette Davy was found, had testified, she never, she didn't test a lot of the bullet fragments. All of a sudden, the bullet fragment disappeared. They couldn't find it. So basically, it was lost. So with that, the attorney was asking for another, like an appeal of the conviction. During the appeals process, Judge Thomas A. Cox, who was assigned, eventually recused himself, citing conflict of interest with DA Willis at the time. We've been trying to carry this motion forward because of all the disparities within this case, to have Attorney General Carr assign a special investigator to look specifically into this case because of everything that's come forward amongst it.
Mm-hmm.
John, did you have anything else to add to that?
Yeah. Basically, Judge, I've studied, listened to you for a long time, and you're one of the very first pioneers to raise a flag on what's going on, especially in the legal scenario. Of course, we have our own Kamala Harris here in Georgia. Her name's Fani Willis. And Fani Willis, just to put it in the simplest of terms, and of course, this is all alleged. This is allegedly. Fani Willis used her female wiles to climb up. Basically, she was dating a gangbanger and a gang member, and thought that if she could place herself in the legal system, then if things went down, she could offer protection. And then vice versa, he could offer her protection. So it turned into a little mini mafia kind of scenario. And this Travion Reed case is just one of the many, many victims that this woman has perpetrated in her RICO. That's one of her strong arm tactics of trying to get her way. The RICO statute, which she just, in the simplest of terms, it's like somebody gets busted for a joint. Instead of you going to court, get it settled so-and-so, under the RICO, it's kind of like, we'll wait till we get like 100 people and I'll try them all at once. But in the meantime, you can just sit and rot in jail.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a horrifically unjust scenario that I can't even believe is being perpetrated. This man has been in there for over 4.5 years, allegedly innocent. This is one of the many. What we found in looking at this case is things start to unravel. When you see a little bit of something over here, then it's like, oh, wow, this too, new evidence pops up and more evidence keeps popping up. Most recently, Fani Willis was supposed to appear at the Capitol building. At the court ordered everything. She has to do it. She can't get out. Then she had a scheduling conflict, and she's still pulling out of that. There's a lot of evidence against her where she used her position as the district attorney to basically strong arm her will and get her people in and out. Apparently, in this case, the Travion Reed case, it was her boyfriend that pulled the trigger, and she flip-flopped it all around using her status to make it so that Travion was the victim. And that he's just been sitting there waiting to have his trial for over 4.5 years. It's a horrible story. And the longer it gets drawn out, the more that this man is just sitting in there innocent in prison. It's driving us crazy. Jonathan has done an exorbitant amount of work to try to do what we can to expose as much evidence as humanly possible so that we can get justice for this young man. In doing so, we're unraveling the disgustingness of Fonnie Willis and how she used that position to prey on, my constituents, really, Georgia 5th. Those are my people, so I take it very personally. And unfortunately, I even think she's worse than Kamala Harris, quite frankly. But she got it, she got her means the same way. You know what I'm saying there, Judge. And she got her little positions and everything. In the beginning, she started messing around with the DA. It was Paul Howard. He was a terrible DA, and she was messing around with that. And then all of a sudden, she ends up taking his job. He couldn't do nothing about it. He had to sit there with his mouth shut. She's something else, man. She's going to definitely make for an interesting movie of the week. I pass it back.
Well, you know what? Interrupting here, one of the things the state legislative body of Georgia wants to get her in front of them, or at least one of its committees, to talk about is what happened to the $7.5 million that seems to have flown somewhere unknown that was supposed to catch up on these long overdue felony prosecutions. And what you're talking about is not unusual. I had a very tragic situation, person still in jail, and I had a conference just 2 weeks ago with the individual's two lawyers, defense lawyers, one of whom is now a sitting judge and the other one's retired. And one of the attorney generals or assistant AGs in my courtroom actually fixed the case and covered for somebody who was a friend of their mother who committed a homicide and framed an innocent man. And we had it on video, which sounded everything, and the elected DA went and covered for it and tried to destroy the evidence so that couldn't come out. But I know what you're talking about. It's a horrible evil. And Fannie Fine.
We tried to get remedy. We took this to the state bar twice, not once, but twice. They normally take, 6 months to tell you what kind of flavor ice cream they like. And they were very quick in saying, we're not going to pursue this. So the state bar, we can't turn to them for justice, the Georgia State Bar. They're completely polluted. In the Fulton County system from top to bottom, for those that don't know, is just an ungodly mess. I'm committed on trying to straighten that out with the help of whoever we can get. It's my constituents have been preyed upon there with that machine, that trap, for decades. And now, knowledge is power. Knowing what's going on, the next step is doing something about it. That's why the Georgia Coalition.
You could put on a COVID-19 mask, but it doesn't filter out the smell.
Yeah.
And the Georgia State Bar said the reason why that they were turning away the case is they said because everything was outside of that everything would have been brought within 4 years of the allegations. However, the bullet fragment wasn't discovered missing until 2022.
Oh.
And we were within that 4 years. That's why we tried to resubmit again, but they never entertained the second submission. So that's why we're going.
Suggest, and I'm not giving you legal advice, but may I suggest that you say it was a hidden tort that was concealed, and at the point where the concealment was discovered, that's when your statute would start running.
Okay, yeah. I will put that in there, and I'll try again and see what happens, because that helps out. And also, there was two pieces of evidence that convicted this poor man. One was the bullet fragment, and another was a witness testimony of someone who was supposedly locked up with him, who testified that Travion admitted to him that he was the shooter. However, during the trial, it was never disclosed that the person who is testifying was given immunity or given special privileges from the prosecution. So that violates, I think it's the Giglio v. United States, where the prosecutor is supposed to disclose if a witness is being given special considerations for testimony. And it was 1 month after the trial ended that this person was released from federal prison. So it was already in process. It was already submitted at the time of his testimony, but it wasn't official yet upon his testimony. So that was another thing that we were arguing too, is the violation of that. And there's four main things that we really are trying to fight about this, and it just doesn't seem like anything is really being resolved. Like the sole piece of physical evidence, the state firearms examiner who testified that she falsified reports, the fact that District Attorney Willis is now, when she was ADA, she is now district attorney, so she oversees the conviction integrity unit, the CIU. So she's responsible for which cases get brought forward and which ones get denied. And, most shocking of all is the fact that Travion Reed in 2005 was shot, and the people who shot him were never even brought to justice. So a lot of those things are just, a miscarriage of justice.
I want to ask you a question, both of your question. So the case right now, with all this new evidence that's, coming out and that they have, okay, so is it Fannie Willis who is really blocking the case from for retrying the case, or blocking for Trayvon Reed to get a new case? Like, what is the holdup? Like, what is actually blocking him for being denied, I guess, a new trial? Not new case, new trial, I mean.
We're not exactly sure because as of October 31st, there was a letter that was sent to the family saying that the CIU is still going to investigate this, although it's been over 4 years now, and most cases take only 18 months. However, this case has been going on for 4 years, and that they're still going to investigate this. However, we don't know if they're including all the other evidence that we have brought forward. We don't know what they're actually investigating. So we have no idea why it's taking so long to come to a decision. That's why we want a special investigator from the AG's office.
Most of the time, when you have an appeal or post-conviction relief proceeding after the appellate process is over, the reliance is upon procedural improprieties or law. This one is unusual because very seldom do you get a new body of evidence that develops like this. And usually when you do, the district attorney's office jumps into the fray and says, okay, we need to go look into this because we want to make sure that we did not drop the ball. But in this case, there seems to be such a connection between the DA's office and the events that they'd rather just sort of let the sleeping dog lie over there in the corner and not disturb it.
Right. And what I think personally, and this is just my conjecture, this is just my theory, can't be proven, but I think it's because Fannie Willis doesn't want to open this up. She doesn't want to look into this because then it could come out with her relations with Jermaine Smith, who was the shooter in 2005. All of that could be brought forward and be brought to light. So all this evidence could come forward.
Post the pictures and post the story. And under New York Times versus Sullivan, if she wanted to claim there's malice with no factual basis, or it's not being editorial comment by saying this person is low down, therefore we call them a snake, then they get put in a position where if you have to respond to a complaint from her, you get to bring out all kinds of things, including interesting innuendo, hearsay, and rumor. which I don't think would help her.
Yes, and as far as the implementing her having a relationship with the actual shooter, um, if there is some type of proof or evidence to that or hearsay, yeah, is that something that could be put out in social media? Because a lot of things do start up from social media, because even if the news outlet don't want to talk about it, it's that's a juicy story to put out there and then correlate it with Trayvon Reed. This is the reason why they don't want to, reinvestigate this case, or, prolonging it. Um, because that's what do you call that? That's a lot of dirt. You are a district attorney, and prior to that, you had a relationship with a gangbanger.
Allegedly.
Do you have pictures? Is this a big
Allegedly.
guy? Is this a big, heavy set guy?
Yeah.
With a
yeah.
beard? Okay,
Yeah, I
there
think
are
you've seen that
pictures out
picture.
there.
Yeah.
Why don't you just post some of them and say, does she wish to explain this picture? Why it looks unseemingly for somebody who is the district attorney to have had association with such an individual? And how long did this relationship go on? We, the people, would like answers, because this may have some bearing on whether or not we return you to office, or we
And the
choose
thing
to
is
take other steps.
Oh,
I'm
it's
sorry.
gone out on social. Go ahead, John.
Oh, I was just going to say, the fear is that it might hurt our ongoing case just to throw stuff out publicly. Who knows where it ping pongs? It will come out. The truth always rises. The truth is a very crazy story, and one that you're very familiar with, Judge. But our fear is that at this point, it's at like we're in fourth gear getting into fifth. We've got senators that are angry because she's giving them the finger. She refuses to go to any of their stuff, just refuses, no matter what. It had to take it to court, they get injunctions on her. She still refuses. She thinks she owns the world. And the problem is just throwing little bits and tidbits of this and that out there. And then also you might get all kinds of like bad information back. And then we don't want to alert. She has no clue who we are, what we are, what's going on. We're not even on her radar, and that's to our advantage.
It is.
And it's been put out there years ago. People put these pictures, they've put other allegations out on social media. And it's just kind of died. Even a local news station, I think in 2023 or 2022, actually did a little blurb, like a little 5-minute blurb about some of the inconsistencies in the prosecution. And even that went nowhere. So
yeah.
I think because nobody cares about prisoners, and they definitely don't care about a Black man who's in prison for committing a crime. People don't care. And it could be on the news, the local news. Okay, it's with 5-10 minutes and then they're over it. The big story is her, Fannie Willis, because she's been in the news for the past 2-3 years since she took on this Trump case. So I would, and like you said, I don't, you guys are in it and you guys are the expert. And I understand what you're saying, that, you're not on her radar, but the story is her, and it's not so much Trayvon Reed. And I think for me as an outsider looking in, that's probably his best shot to getting whether reinvestigation or freedom down the line is through her, because she is the story and she's not liked, and she has a lot of dirt, a lot of hidden dirt that's starting to to come out. But because nationally, locally, she stays in the news, and I think that the more she stay in the news, I think it's better for him. Do you get what I'm saying?
yeah, and that's kind of the angle we've taken it to, because the thing is if she's done this to him, who's next? I mean, just because she knows somebody else. I mean, who could be the next victim? And we've heard a lot of other people who've run into the same type of situation. It's just this family was the one who just reached out to us and gave us everything. I mean, they've turned over everything, all the letters and everything, from what their attorney said, what their private investigator said. They've given us all that, probably like 362 pages worth of documents, and it's a lot. So
what is isn't I thought she was supposed to go and sit and be questioned in front of the Georgia Senate committee in November.
yeah, November 13th, she was supposed to attend before that, but then a week before, the Friday before, she said there was a scheduling conflict. However, this was scheduled 2 months before, but the Friday before, she basically said, "There's a scheduling conflict. I won't be attending." So, just basically giving them.
Are they going to reschedule the date?
That's what they said. And so a couple of those senators we've actually reached out to, they've expressed some interest in this case. And that's who we're reaching out to, is to try to reach out to them so they can talk to Attorney General Carr about, getting a special investigator into this case, because, how much more is she just going to basically give the middle finger to the American people and say, I can get away with anything, and you guys can't touch me, before someone has to really step in and do something about it.
Exactly. And because if people could prove she is corrupt, then a lot of her cases, including Trayvon Reed, that went through her office, can be reinvestigated, reopened, retrialed, because it'll be tainted. Her office already is tainted, but I think the angle here is literally proving that she is corrupt. What was you going to say, Judge?
Well, perhaps there will be some interesting developments relative to making a knowingly false statement to a federal agency or federal official, to wit IRS and IRS agents. I think there is a possibility of federal RICO charges coming up, because there were federal funds commingled in some of what is missing right now. It looks like we have money laundering involved. And I think there are probably going to be a series of subpoenas issued before some federal committees, which have already received testimony from Mr. Wade relative to certain matters. So we've got 3 more years of the Trump administration, 3 more years and a bit more than a month. So that's likely to result in some things. And then Vance is likely to be the vice president who becomes president, as has happened so many times. So we've got about 11 more years of Miss Fannie being on the hot seat and having to sweat. And what happened to Tish James is likely to happen to her with, shall we say, enhanced.
We're not going to, Jonathan, we're not, Georgia Coalition of Truth is not going to let that kid sit in there and rot for years. We're going to jump on this very quickly. If we don't get remedy with Chris Carr, we don't get remedy, we're going to go round 3. We don't expect anything. We're realistic. We're going to go to the federal level.
I think she's going to be.
We're taking this to the feds. And you're right, Dana.
She's going to get jacked up. What my point was, is she's going to get jacked up. And when she starts getting jacked up, all of the floodgates are going to open to get what you want done on the local level to implement justice.
Yep.
Yeah. So the Trump case, it was going to be dismissed on Friday, but at the last hour, they ended up getting a special prosecutor to take up the case.
No kidding. Wow.
Peter Scantalakis.
Mm-hmm.
So he's going to be the prosecutor in the Donald Trump election case.
It's going nowhere, because even if everything they say is true, there's no crime committed.
But the judge has already dismissed some of the charges.
Yeah. So,
but it's funny though, because Thursday they were saying they couldn't find no one. And then right before the deadline on Friday, oh, we found someone. And I think that was very intentional. She's not going in front of Georgia committee. What honestly, so
It's a behind the scenes move by the Democratic Party in Georgia to come up with something and not let it go. They'd do better probably trying to bail on it, pull the loop, eject, hope the parachute works, and then try to bury the chute once they hit the ground. But they don't have that much sense.
So I want to ask you, gentlemen, what is going on in the state of Georgia? Because it's whether it's a city of South Fulton, Fulton County, Marjorie Taylor Greene is beefing with Trump, and then the governor, Georgia Senate. I mean, okay, yeah, she basically gave them the finger for the past 12 months.
Mhm.
And this woman has not sat in front of them to answer these questions, spending taxpayers' dollars. So what is going on in the state of Georgia?
I wish I could tell you. I've only been here not even 5 years. I lived out in Boston for about 10 years. So John could probably tell you more than me. My wife is from this area. So that's why we came back down to Georgia. And when the email from the family came forward and they gave me the aspects behind the case, she's the one I always kind of bounce ideas off of. So I was letting her know, like, hey, this case came up, what do you think? And when she heard all the allegations, she said, whether it's true or not, she said, you need to look into this. This is bad. She said, you need to do something about it. You can't just sit on this. So that she was the one who pushed me forward to. I mean, I was already going to move forward. She's just my, my cheerleader in the background that kind of pushes me forward.
It seems like that's Trayvon Reed is a little string, and if you keep pulling on it, the whole thread is gonna like come out. That's what it feels like. Because so people really trying to block it, delay it, because it's some other stuff that will probably be revealed. Yes, Fannie Willis, and probably a little bit on the Republican side. It's just, and that's why I'm asking, what is going on in Georgia? Something about Georgia to where is everybody dirty, and so you're not going to really get true justice, or I don't know, or is everybody just worried about getting reelected?
I would say the first huge concern that I had, and I almost accidentally stumbled into it, was the Fulton County injustice system and how they prey on what you said. Ain't nobody give a rat's ass about no black folk in Fulton County, Rice Street. We change the channel. Yeah. And you know what? There's been so much apathy that this has become a job of the hut of corruption. And it's not racial. And I know the families that have been preying on these people. It's a small group of families. They got their bail bond shops. They're keeping people in. The more you investigate what's going on in Georgia, the more you start smelling privatized prison money. And so the solution is knowledge is power. To know what's going on. The next step, are you going to do something about it? I was unaware and only aware of the corruption over time to Fulton County where it's come to a head. Fannie Willis, when you look at Trayvon Reed, and like you say, Dana, it just starts to unravel. It's sickening where it goes to. It doesn't go to one other thing, it goes to thousands. And the folks, my constituents, my people are so used to getting preyed on. It's just, okay, that's just normal for us, and we ain't having it anymore, Dana. We have to have justice. And yes, there is a lot of crookedness, a lot of people that chase dead presidents, and not enough people that are thinking about us, and not enough people that are running for us and helping us. That they just are trying to get their little nut. And the digger I deep, and then I see how much the nut is. It's shocking how small it is. It doesn't take a lot for a politician to get bought out. And there's no such thing. I keep saying it. It's, you know, that's Hollywood. The guy shows up in a trench coat handing you an envelope with $10,000 cash in it. Here's your bribe, Senator. That don't go down that way in the real world. You know, in the real world,
does it?
Huh?
Or does it?
No. It says, you know, Dana, I love your stance on homosexual, transsexual mice from Norway, and we would love to give you $50,000 towards your nonprofit for that. We just think it's a great cause. We love what you're about, and also we're going to throw a little more money in your campaign. We whatever the max is, and blah blah blah. And oh, by the way, I got a place in St. Simon's Island. I rent it out all year. You know, in November it's open. December it's open. If you and the kids want to go, you and your husband, whatever, please take the keys. You'd be doing me a favor. Please just check on the place for me. My 9,000 square foot, you know, Georgia Power, you know, paid for house. I'll send a private photographer to take some photos of your kids. Probably have one of my friends. He's a private chef. Can you cook you up some meals? That's how it goes.
You know?
Unlimited.
You might find something in a bureau drawer. Oh, by the way, oh, you found something. Well, I don't know what you found.
Yep.
But and also too, and it's like, yeah, put race aside. The common denominator is poor people.
Yes.
Except because if you have money, listen, if Donald Trump was making just six figures, he would be locked up on those 36 whatever charges.
Oh yeah.
But so they're poor.
Yeah.
And that is the common denominator. You know, several people came on the show just to talk, just to get their story out there. They don't come from money. You know, I'm poor. We don't come from money. So if you don't have money, you don't have money to hire an investigator, a good lawyer, you know, paperwork for this, that. You know, even, okay, people don't know, you know, what you guys do, or organizations or nonprofits, you know, that you do. You don't know, and you're poor. And people like Fannie Willis and others, they take advantage of the poor and who are the most vulnerable, which is a shame. So, and that's part of not, people don't care because they're not wealthy like a Donald Trump, and you know, they're not on TV. They're just a regular person. So why do I care? Oh, you probably committed a crime anyway. So, and I think that's it's unfortunate. And that's why I said that the story has to be her and her corruption. Because we shouldn't have to wait, Judge, until hopefully JD Vance gets elected, and then maybe then. No, it needs to happen under this administration. I think this is the one shot that it could happen.
We're going as hard and fast as we can.
The public is just not into it these days. I remember when I first joined the union, it was the Teamsters way, way back when. It's been 60 years ago almost. And we used to get political lectures about what was going on both sides of the coin, so we could go back and tell our neighbors, and the public was pretty much up on politics and who was doing what and what the background was in economics and all of the, like you say, Senator, the ways people get influenced. And they were a lot more sophisticated than they are now. But maybe there is a glimmer of hope because people, I think, have gotten a wake-up call. The alarm clock went off. They may have put it on snooze a little bit, but it's going off, and people are going to, you know, let me drink the coffee and wake up and see what's going on.
And I think that's what it is.
I was on the snooze button until 2015. Honestly, I could give a rat's you know what about any of this nonsense. And I'm definitely not politically motivated. Jonathan's not politically motivated. We're just a couple of dudes that's angry.
Yeah, like
so angry. We're so pissed off. We jumped in there and ran.
In other words,
you know, that's how mad
you got home and you realized what somebody said to you at the party, and you said, "That son of a bitch, she into me." Oh, wow. You know.
You know what?
I think once you awaken, a lot of people, because we have access to so much information,
Yes.
and the great reveal, even, and listen, this is why I do have respect for Candace Owens and what she's doing, just investigating things, and people who do have the resources to bring, certain situations to the light, because it is a trickle down effect. Because it can happen to me. Even though I'm in Ohio, I'm not in Georgia. It doesn't matter. Like what happened in Trevor Arena, anybody else, it can happen to you when you have these corrupt people in these powerful positions.
Yeah.
And to be a district attorney like Fannie Willis, that is a powerful position. And how she's been moving for the past 4, 5, 6 years in that position, taking advantage of it. But the people keep voting her back in, I would say this, which is probably why people don't care, because the people of Fulton County continue to vote her in, because she does run on a race-based campaign. Oh, poor me, because I'm a Black woman and you don't like Black people.
No,
It's like, no,
no,
you're
the
just
reason
corrupt.
she keeps winning, it's the Republicans' fault. It's my fault. It's we don't do enough. We don't present good candidates. They tell me this. I'm 90% Black Democrat. That's what my constituents consist of. They talk to me, and they're like, "It's not we don't like y'all, and you just don't give us good candidates." And it's
Right.
absolutely
They don't
true.
reach
In the
out.
past, some horrible candidates. If you look at the record, and
Well, whatever candidate they do present, are you reaching out to different demographics, or you just staying within your own group? Like you have to, and I'm talking about off an off election season, when it's not election time. Why are you not going into different communities or talking to different people that can potentially vote for you? Because they could be an independent. They don't really have to be a Democrat. So I don't
right.
think Republicans, they're not doing a lot of outreach.
No, they don't. I'm like it. Jonathan can tell you it's kind of hilarious how little outreach it is, but it's coming around now. It's taken me 3 years to bang these Republicans over the head, but they're finally getting it. They really are, and they genuinely do want to do outreach. They just don't know how. But I'm hosting a debate with the Lieutenant Governor Republican candidates January 8th. And the two other moderators are the Atlanta Black Chamber chairman, very Democrat, and politics and Black families. Why? Because, like I said, I'm 90% Black Democrat. So these are my people. I want to know what you're going to do for me. I want to know what the lieutenant governor is going to do for Black families. And then I'm also going to do one for the Secretary of State, and I'm going to do one for gubernatorial before the primary in May. And then we'll have 3 of those after the winners, and I'll do 3 more debates. Now, I want to ask them questions the Republicans want to know. And if it wasn't for me and my little Republican Roundup show, my little side thing, no one would know anything, because the only source of information most Republicans use is Signal. And in the beginning, it started out as okay. It was, this we're having this meeting here, go to this. And then it turned into a bitch fest. And then it turned into so-and-so called me fat. Oh, yeah, well, you're ugly, And then smarter people get off of it and don't have time for that nonsense. So now we don't really have any kind of way. If you want to, do you know how many candidates we have for lieutenant governor, for the Republicans? The answer is 6. Do we know who they are? You might be able to rattle 1, maybe 2. And our goal is we got to find out who's who. And I'm doing this on the Democratic side. We're looking at everybody. Because the Fulton County injustice system has got to be dismantled and reassembled.
Yeah.
And this has been going on for decades. The things that I'm finding out are shocking. This Trayvon Reed case and Young Thug and all these other folks, just some of the many, many victims of what's going on. Yes, there's news pieces that get buried almost as soon as they're done. We've seen them. And it's not that nobody cares. It's that they don't know. It's not their fault that they're made to be ignorant. There's a lot of money spent to keep us ignorant. And so it's up to everyone keeps saying what makes a good candidate. A good candidate is someone that can't be bribed legally or illegally. That's what makes a good judge, a good candidate. People that are working for us. And it sounds, whatever, like unrealistic, but if you get the right people in, it won't be unrealistic.
Well, then maybe, and I definitely want you guys to come back on, and maybe this conversation can be a part two, because maybe it's intentional. It's intentional for Republicans and Democrats to present certain candidates, who are politicians and not statesmen. Because if you actually get somebody in there and you push them and they really don't care about the people, that's bad for us, because we need for them to toe the line of anything that could be unethical. So candidates that are being invested in, because listen, your DNC, RNC, they're the ones who put money in your campaign. So a lot of times they are propped up by their party, and it's very intentional because they want a yes man, not someone who actually care.
Well, Jonathan and I both share something that's a blessing, and that is that the Republican Party, we're a joke in their eyes. We are running in a race that's unwinnable as far as they're concerned. So to put one single nickel into our race or to do anything to help us out would just be folly and a waste of funds. So the money that we've raised has either been out of our pocket or from grassroots people, $5, $10. Nobody big has approached us, but we like that because we don't have weird lobbyists trying to hustle us. We don't have Georgia Power trying to kiss our butt, to get us to say yes to everything, all their increases and all this, and to encourage a PSC or whatever, because they look at us as unwinnable. So they leave us alone. So Jonathan and I and a couple other candidates that are in these, quote, unwinnable, districts. Well, the funny thing is we're getting way more votes than we're supposed to get. Jonathan cleared over 100,000 votes in an extremely Democratic district. And we think he's going to do really, really well this cycle. I got 3 times more than I should have with no budget and no staff. And it's getting the word out. Word spreads fast in the Black community, as we all know. And so, we all know, everyone, there's no one, even someone that has a brain of a second grader knows that they're getting preyed on by that Fulton County injustice system. And also Clayton County's a mess. And DeKalb needs some help. So
I've run, oh, go ahead, John.
I'm sorry, Jonathan. Good.
So I've run twice. So the first time I ran, I almost got 21% of the vote. Second time I ran, I almost got 30% of the vote. Yeah. And actually, the second time I ran, I spent less money. It was all my money, but I spent less money. And basically what I did is, like John said, we just go out to the Black community. We go out to these community centers. We go out, and just talk to people. And that was pretty much how I did it, is social media blasts and just talking to people. And that's how I got close to 30%. So that's why when the district said, this is going to come around again, hey, since you did pretty good the last time around, do you mind running again? And I said, yeah, but I'm going to need a little bit more money because I'm getting tired of paying for this myself. So, I don't need a lot of money, but just a little bit. So,
and let me,
something, if I can make a suggestion.
Oh, go ahead. As
active Republicans, lobby those who have been elected, particularly the ones that are in DC, about restoring fairness to reporting. That was something that went out about 1982. If you badmouth one side, they got a chance to have a freebie reply, which was bad for the commercial side of things for broadcast television, but it tended to make the presentations and the reporting a little bit more objective. But that's one thing I think somebody needs to lobby about. And I will also say this: late October, early November 24, I was in Georgia, and I went from North Carolina to Florida campaigning for Trump all over the state. And there is a grassroots swell that somebody could take advantage of if they worked at it. And also some of the middlemen, the gatekeepers, they're trying to maintain personal authority and power, and they're cutting off a lot of resources from being spread about because the spread would diminish what they have going for them. So
Yeah.
I remember
just
that,
Yep.
Judge, because you were going to be a speaker at one of the dinners. It was on a Saturday night, I think it was, and
yeah.
I wanted to get tickets to that, but actually I had a work obligation for that night, so I wasn't able to go. Because actually locally, I'm also the chairman for our local or our county GOP as well, so I run that countywide. So that's how I knew about. And I think it was it Henry County or I don't know, but I remember the dinner, and I just couldn't go, but.
Well, just real quick, because I do want you guys to, tell people where they can follow you and, and to talk about your campaign a little bit. It sounds like what y'all doing is when you grassroots campaigning, canvassing, and I think people forget about this because her war chest, AOC war chest, is very big now. But when she was running for her seat in those two districts up in the Bronx, I think one is in the Bronx and one is in Queens. She did it old school, knocked on doors, and because she didn't have money, and she won. And that was one of the biggest upsets. Now, she's in Congress and people look at AC like she's batshit crazy, but she got in there. She got in there the old school way, canvassing and talking to the people, actually doing what you guys are doing. Now when she runs, it's all about APAC and that money, but or George Soros and the money. However, she's in there. So, but she got there grassroots, and it's a couple of people that I know that lived in her district, older homeowners, and it was like, listen, I don't care what she be saying at these congressional hearings, as long as she is making sure our potholes are filled in the district, they're going to keep voting for her. So it's just all about getting in there, and I think grassroots is the way to go, because people minds, especially young people, my generation and younger, who have always voted Democrat, they're changing, their mindset is changing. But please tell people where they can follow you, and I definitely want you guys to come back on so we could do a part 2.
So the Georgia Coalition for Truth, we don't have a website, but you can do Georgia Coalition for Truth at gmail.com. That's our email. For my website, it's my full name, Jonathan Chavez for Congress.com. And through that, there's an email link. So you can email me if you have any information about the Travion Reed case or any other cases. You can email me through that, and I can respond to that. So that's one good way to reach out to us. John?
Just get me on Facebook until we get our websites up and running. John Salveson, Salvesen. John, the H is silent, John. And basically, we're just moving forward with trying to get justice for Travion Reed. And in uncovering his case, we're uncovering a lot of other stuff too.
So how about we have you guys come back next month?
Okay.
With an update, and you probably will have an update as far as with Trayvon Reed and your race and the Fannie Willis corruption saga. So yeah, I want you guys to come back next month, and because people need to hear and see you guys more often.
So we appreciate you, Dana.
Yeah, because his story, and I think I had his mom on the show a year ago as well. So,
I think so.
Yeah,
she knows you.
Right,
So
with
yes.
the private investigator. So this has been going on for a minute. So yeah, definitely let's schedule something for next month to have you guys come back on and give us an update. And I really appreciate you guys coming on tonight. It's very informative.
Thank you for having us. Thank you, Judge.
Appreciate you. Thank you, Judge. You're the best. I'm a huge fan. Thank you, Dana.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Love you. Love you all. Thank you, Jonathan.
Keep up the struggle.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you.
You have my word.
We will.
You have our word.
All right. Good night.
Bye.
2 thumbs up. 2 thumbs up.
Okay.
Okay.
So just a couple more things. That was a great discussion, and I'm actually going to clip it and upload it. So people who didn't catch it tonight, I'm gonna have to do that in 2 parts. That was really good. I definitely want them to come back because I don't know. Everybody got to keep their foot on Fannie Willis' neck. I'm sorry. Because it's not just her, it's other people. If she goes down, she'd probably bring people down with her, but something has to change. It really has to change.
You
And
know what needs to be changed is because she's riding the wave of it being done wrong, and people, a generational thing. It's a generational adaptation to the wrong thing being done for the wrong ways. It's not that there has not been corruption in the political process before. It's endemic. The only thing is that previously the person in the street got something out of it, but the people that are in charge now don't understand
yes,
that. So they just take it as this is an opportunity for me to get rich and move on up to the
and
east side without paying attention to the other folk out there, and they get nothing.
that's exactly, you hit it right on the nail, because it was a time corruption has always been corrupt, but the people, especially in the Black community with Black politicians, they got something in return. So Adam Clayton Powell, it got to a point to where I don't know if he was corrupt or not, but it got to a
He
point
was, but
okay.
he delivered.
Yes, he did. He didn't. Only thing he had to do was go to the church on Sunday, and that was his campaign. They was going to because he did so much for his district,
Yeah,
for
he
Black
bought
people.
himself an island and all of the rest of that, and he
And
was happy.
and I'm fine with that. But what he put in place really helps Black people today, and we got to do a show on him.
Well, you know what? About 40 some years ago, old black man said, Lawyer Brown, I don't know what's wrong with these politicians these here days. Say, you used to be able to get a slice of watermelon, shot of fairly decent whiskey, and a shiny new quarter for your vote. Now you don't get shit.
Right.
Oh, listen, hey, I understand watermelon in
Like if you want to
July.
steal, at least leave me with
I get that.
$20 or something. So right.
A quarter and a shot of whiskey. That's a hell of a lot better than most of these clowns are delivering right now.
Well, I want to swing to Candace Owens real quick.
Her ladyship.
Want to know? Worry about it.
Let me get about nurse. So listen, I want a best friend like Candace. Because if something happened to me, you personally, Judge, you would not go hard for me like Candace going hard for Charlie Kirk. You would not. I don't think you would. I don't think you would want to seek justice if somebody did harm to me.
I'd want to see justice done.
No, would you do what she's doing? Like she's standing 10 toes down now.
Well, the only difference is I've seen a lot more folk die up close and personal, and known a lot of people that are no longer breathing. So it's kind of like you work in a funeral home, you get used to dead folk. The same if you work in the medical field. It's
Well,
not that you don't appreciate what an individual has done. It's just it's nothing to get excited for. What happens is when you hear the siren of the ambulance, you don't say, "Oh my God!" You say, business." Yes.
well, she did a show today, Operation Mocking Plane. Charlie Kirk plot thickens, right? And earlier today she was tweeting out, that I was trying to find the actual tweet. She was like, listen, stay tuned because she's going to be, dropping some receipts. And this is just one of many shows to follow. So I just want to play a couple of quick clips here. Let me know if you can hear it.
The blue plane showed 60.
Did you hear that?
Yes.
Okay. What is this? All right.
Now, okay. So you have to remember that Charlie landed into Salt Lake City at 9:23 a.m. local time. I suspect that if he had instead landed into Provo, he would have recognized the blue Egyptian plane, okay? It's not every day that you see an Egyptian military craft. It is now my well-informed opinion that he would have looked at that plane and he would have recognized the blue plane, and he would have instantly realized that something was amiss. And now I'm going to explain to you very carefully why I suspect that it is highly likely that Charlie would have recognized that plane, okay? Tail number SUBND, the blue plane. A pregnant mommy sleuth who was locked into this investigation discovered something that me and my team had missed. I consider her, obviously, and all of you to be my decentralized intelligence agents. Anyway, she sent me a rather urgent email, and I'm obviously protecting her identity for reasons that are clear. But I want you to know that this discovery is due entirely to her. She is the person that, in this regard, went max for Charlie when I missed something. Her email stated, in effect, that I was only partially right about the plane tracking Charlie, that she had done an additional 15 hours of research and was able to discern that the person the planes were actually tracking for years was Erica. Not Charlie, but Erica was the one being tracked by these planes. And indeed, it turns out that she was correct. She discovered that between 2022 and September of 2025, both of those aircrafts, SUBTT, the yellow plane, and SUBND, the blue plane, showed 68 overlaps with Erica's documented locations, okay? 68 overlaps. I have since been able to add now 73 times that this overlapped, okay? And 29 of those instances also happened to include Charlie. Charlie was also present. And that's what I was stumbling upon when I was looking into this. I was like, why is this plane where Charlie is? The flights were majority clustered within 5 states: Kansas, Missouri, Nebraska, Delaware, and Utah. And it's a pattern that she believes is statistically not random. I am telling you this information has been completely verified. I am showing you this on a spreadsheet now. These are all the instances in which this plane, 68 instances that this plane crossed with Erica. And I'm also going to say this includes overseas as well, okay? So my instant question becomes, why didn't Turning Point acknowledge that this plane was familiar to them? When I was taking all of these figurative online bullets, someone could have easily said something, right? That's kind of a repeat thing in this investigation. Josh Hammer lies, I get attacked, Turning Point just stays silent. They know he's lying, but they allow the lie to flow. Alex Clark lies, I get attacked, I'm telling the truth. Turning Point knows it, but they kind of allow this like Catholic thing, lie to flow. And the influencers are allowed to lie. Nobody at Turning Point ever just steps to clarify that I'm onto something or I'm telling the truth about something. And when it comes to these Egyptian flights, the math on this is indisputable. There is less than a 0.00000001% probability, okay, under random distribution models that these Egyptian planes coincidentally landed around Erica at these times. Like I said, this plane was not just with her in America, it was also tracking her overseas as well. I flagged this because I was alarmed because I thought it was tracking Charlie. And I am telling you that this plane, in addition to Charlie, and primarily actually was tracking Erica. Now, let's get to the day of the assassination.
So,
all right, who's supposed to be the enemy here?
Well, she doesn't know, but it ain't the shooter that shot him, basically. So what she's saying is Turning Point USA, either they knew some stuff, or if they didn't, why are you not trying to find the truth? And what people are saying happened, it ain't adding up to what really happened, because now what Candace is doing is investigating and pulling out all these other different evidence and incidents that happened around the time he landed in Utah, and then stuff that happened before then, because come to find out, his wife, she was being tracked before he was even assassinated over 68 times. It was tracking his wife, basically, I guess, to get to him. So this wasn't just some
Was that what it was?
right. So what Candace is doing is putting the pieces together. This wasn't and proving that this wasn't just some random shooting, a disgruntled person that hated Charlie Kirk shot him that day. No, this was she was saying this is most likely planned.
Well, who would be the one that would be the perpetrator here?
I don't know, probably Israel, probably the Mossad.
Why would the Israel
We don't
go after
know. We
him?
don't know.
He's been supporting Israel.
Well, technically, he really wasn't supporting Israel, but he wasn't against Israel. But
Here's what I would offer. Egypt, Saudi Arabia, and Israel collaborate in their intelligence gathering in the Middle East. So it's interesting, the interconnectivity there. Egypt goes back to 1976 with Anwar Sadat and
here we go again. Oh my God. Maybe it is the hacker. Maybe it is the hacker. Maybe it is the hacker. Because right when it's about to get good with the conversation, something happens with his phone. And his phone, I don't know. It probably is overheating. Who knows? Here he goes.
just got knocked
Yeah.
off. Okay, what I was saying is back in 1976 with Anwar Sadat, Menachem Begin, with Jimmy Carter moderating, they entered into a treaty. And then you get Saudi Arabia jumping into this mix. So they collaborate on things. The Saudis and the Egyptians have cause to want to keep down extremism in the Middle Eastern area. So Israel sometimes is a vital resource in that respect. And with that understanding, Egypt and Saudi Arabia become useful to Israel and Mossad. Now, if they had an Egyptian plane that was following around, that might have been a process not of Israel or the Egyptians going after Charlie Kirk, but keeping watch on somebody who was perceived as going after him. Sometimes you might find that you've got a guardian angel over there that isn't obvious. And that might have been the situation, but if that is, then it might be worthwhile looking into to see who they were interested in.
Well, I want to play this clip here because Candace Owens, Tucker Carlson, and I think she mentioned someone else, have been they haven't been threatened, but some things they're trying to people are trying to cancel them. But I want to play this clip.
Another point that I'd like to follow up with, Andrew Colvett, let's stick with you, is that in the hospital on that day, you told me, you were in the hospital, that you were told that there was a credible threat against me and Tucker Carlson. Specifically, you told me that me and Tucker Carlson were on a list and that you were just telling me as a friend that me and Tucker should lay low. And after you told me that, I ended our phone call and I immediately called Tucker Carlson. And I said, hey, terrified, like obviously crying all day, and telling him that he and I have to lay low because there's a credible threat. And it is now really living inside me that you did not tell me who that threat was from. I assumed the feds told you, but I asked you the question, why wouldn't the feds call me directly if there was a threat against my life? No such call has come in. How is that possible? How could someone have told you that there was a credible threat and that me and Tucker Carlson should lay low, and yet me and Tucker have since not been notified by any federal agency about those credible threats? Who do those threats come from? Because I got to tell you, There are a lot of people making videos about me and Tucker Carlson, and none of them are Egyptians, okay? In fact, it's the Israelis. It is Israel that seems deeply upset with me and Tucker Carlson. They are not letting it go. They are making threats on every stage, okay? People that are tied to Israel are making threats against me and Tucker Carlson, demanding that we be canceled. So who specifically told you in the hospital room that there was a credible threat against my life? I'm going to need that information, okay? I want to know that now.
So she is pointing a finger at Israel.
But it wouldn't make any difference. There's absolutely nothing you can do except to exercise caution. Don't be a target. Don't put yourself out in the open where you can be sniped.
That's your advice.
Nothing you can do. That's like being in a war zone. There's an enemy over there and it's going to kill you. And they have credible snipers who might be anywhere from a couple of 100 yards off to close to 1,000 meters away. And they can get you if you present yourself in a situation where you're open to direct fire. So the trick is to avoid that, make quick movements over open spaces, and always keep moving so you do not present a stationary target.
Yeah, and she always has security. Oh, one second, sorry.
Yeah, but the security can't do anything if you're standing still and there's a clear line of fire 400 meters off, 500, 600, 800 meters away.
Mm-hmm. I don't think she's a target like that.
I don't either. I think she is a person of interest.
Yes. Because maybe she is asking too much of the right questions.
And well, that's true, but her father-in-law, who is nominally the person that's head of the English House of Lords, read the not parliamentary, but the English governmental equivalent of being over the U.S. Senate. That is an individual who is not indisposed to be favorable to Israel, at least publicly. So it wouldn't be feasible to take out the mother of his grandchildren. That might not be the best thing to do. Think about it.
She married well. I will say that. But
Yeah,
I mean, aside from that though, the problem that I have before we move on, when you start asking the right questions, certain entities get nervous and want to shut you up.
Yeah, that happens.
And when and that's a clear indicator of you're guilty of something.
Well, it may not be that you are guilty. It's just that you have obligations to cover for other people that may be in your circle.
But you're still guilty. You're accomplice.
Well, they're not necessarily an accomplice. They may.
Oh, you get what I'm saying.
Well, no, sometimes that may.
You are associated with the guilty party and you're willing to do their dirty.
Well, no, but sometimes it's like this. You may not realize the party is guilty, or when you befriended the party, they weren't guilty. And it's a long-term friendship, and you get approached as, do me a favor. And this person is well known to you over an extended period of time, and their recent conduct is bad. But prior to that, there was a friendship developed. So you're put in the position of saying, as a matter of principle, I ought to reject this friendship and denounce my relationship with or disown this individual. But a lot of humans won't do that.
No, they won't.
Because they know the person.
Especially when you are in proximity to power or you're part of an organization that's very powerful.
See, sometimes though you don't think of it that way because
or there's
a public situation where you may influence hundreds or thousands of people, millions of people, but the individuals that you deal with on a regular basis, there may be 20, 30 people, and you don't think of it that way.
All right, so I want to move on to the DOJ, right? Because, honey, I don't know if you heard this. Wait a minute. Give me a sec. The DOJ launches a unit to revoke citizenship for criminal immigrants. So they want to revoke naturalization citizenship for people who end up being criminals. Let me play this clip.
You know,
Trump
that's
administration
not.
launching a new unit to remove U.S. citizenship from certain people born in other countries. David Spun takes us through details. He's live in Washington. What is this story about, David?
Bill, it's a big story. This new unit focuses on the most serious crimes: murder, war crimes, sex offenses, other forms of terrorism. I'm told, though, Bill, this is not a way to denaturalize law-abiding citizens who are foreign-born. It's specific to those parameters that I mentioned. The Justice Department made the announcement today. Now, when someone foreign-born applies for a naturalization application, they fill out this form. It's called an N-400 form. It requires the government to show that citizenship was obtained legally. If someone lies on that form and has a criminal background, they'll fall under the new Department of Justice section. President Trump has made immigration reform a promise on the 2016 campaign trail. He's doing it as well this year. The travel ban, those are all related here. Assistant Attorney General Jody Hunt, he made the announcement today. In a statement, Hunt said in part, quote, "When a terrorist or sex offender becomes a U.S. citizen under false pretenses, it is an affront to our system, and it is especially offensive to those who fall victim to these criminals." Bill?
So you referred to it. What happens if you're caught, David?
Well, that's a good question, and they will not necessarily be deported. Of course, I'm told each person is on a case-by-case basis, but for the majority of people, if they're caught, they'll lose their citizenship and return to what's called permanent residency status. But again, important to point out, this is not going after families who are undocumented, possibly living in what the administration calls a sanctuary city. This is specifically for hardened criminals who lied when applying for citizenship in the United States. Bill?
Sanctuary cities and those who set them up are illegal in the first instance and engaging in criminal behavior in the second, under Title 8, Section 1324 of the United States Criminal Codes. Now, it's not anything new, so I don't know why they're acting like this. They haven't done it exactly this way, but many a person was deported because of criminal conduct who was here for a long period of time. I think of Thomas Dewey, who was the New York prosecutor, then governor of New York, and then candidate twice for U.S. president, unsuccessfully against Truman. And he prosecuted Lucky Luciano, who set up the syndicate and organized the mafia to become more of a business rather than just a bunch of street gangs. So Lucky Luciano got deported after World War II, following providing a lot of good service to the United States. He ordered his people on the New York docks to collaborate with the United States War Department and the FBI in ferreting out foreign influence and what was felt to be sabotage. There was a huge ocean liner known as the Normandy that was interned and then appropriated by the U.S. government, supposedly as a troop ship. And it caught fire, burnt, and sank at a dock in New York Harbor. And people thought that was Nazi or sabotage. Turned out it was an industrial matter. But anyway, Lucky Luciano was asked to give some assistance to the war effort, which he delivered on. So they let him out of prison, and he got shipped back over to
Naples.
Well, yes, that's Italy.
But Italy, yeah. Wait,
And the
he
other
was
thing
killed in
was,
Italy. He
it's
was
his fault he got put in jail. His lawyers tried to get him not to take the stand and testify, but he did a Fannie Willis, which was stupid because at the point he got on the stand, the state's case was dead on arrival, but he made the case. And it wasn't a good move, but he got deported after he was let out of prison as part of the deal for bestowing a cooperative atmosphere on the docks to prevent sabotage and such like during the war. So it happens.
well, speaking of immigration, honey, Charlotte's Web, Operation Charlotte's Web, Trump has sent the ICE agents to Charlotte, North Carolina this weekend. And they arrested, I believe, over 150 so far. Let's play this clip here.
They're calling it Operation Charlotte's Web. It's in full swing in North Carolina and already seeing impressive results.
But despite the success, hundreds gathered in protest over the weekend to push back against the operation.
Madison Scarpino is in Charlotte, North Carolina. She's got the latest from there for us. Hi, Madison.
Good morning, you guys. The feds are hoping to get as many criminal illegal immigrants off the streets as they can, and they're already making progress with dozens and dozens of arrests since Saturday. And these arrests are happening in several areas around Charlotte as the mission is to ensure Americans are safe and remove public safety threats, according to DHS. Border Patrol Commander Gregory Bavino says they arrested 81 illegal migrants in just 5 hours, and we're expecting that number to grow significantly. Bavino says most of those arrested have a, quote, significant criminal and immigration history, and he says those crimes range from assault, larceny, hit and runs to DUIs. Here's former acting ICE Director Ron Vitello. Listen.
They are absolutely going after the worst of the worst. People who are in the country illegally, have a final order of deportation, post-due process, if you will, and have committed other crimes in the United States. Heinous crimes. That's the targeting that is underway.
But many Charlotte residents and local officials say these operations are causing unnecessary fear and uncertainty. As you can see in this video, many people are angry about CBP being here. And on Saturday, hundreds gathered downtown to protest Operation Charlotte's Web. And many of those protesters say immigrants are now living in fear.
I'm a parent. My parents are immigrants. You know, it's not okay having to worry like if they're gonna make it home or not. You know, it's just not okay what they're doing right now.
And there was also a small protest yesterday outside of a local DHS office. We know that 2 people were arrested, but right now it's unclear what for. But as you guys can imagine, things are changing quickly here on the ground, and we're watching it all. Back to you.
All right, Madison, thank you very much. Shows you how things are changing fast there, Brian.
Yes, I would get those police blotters up quickly so people think and will understand that they're not targeting Hispanic people or Central and South American people. And for that young girl, her parents have nothing to worry about if they're here legally. That's the problem. And if they had committed a crime besides breaching the border, that's going to make it doubly hard. And that's just it. You could get mad at ICE, but what ICE is doing is trying to correct what President Biden did, probably intentionally. He let about 10 to 15 million people here illegally, and they're spread out across the country, many of which have criminal records, and it's a lot easier to let them in than it is to round them up. And this is the part when they're rounding them up. But they have to also do communications to express to the American people that these people are not being targeted. It's criminals that are being scooped up.
There is also one component of this that the left could help minimize. If you would just offer up the people that are in custody right now, then ICE wouldn't have to surge resources into your neighborhood. If you want to have an impact on this and you want the people that are working on farms and working in hospitality to have a shot and go through the legal process, then the people that are in custody, that's the easy way to get the numbers up. The people that are in custody, just turn them to ICE. When they have a detainer put on someone, just allow them to scoop them up. But they won't do that, Sandra.
You know, they're saying that the protesters on the ground are saying that this operation is causing unnecessary fear and uncertainty. Well, tell that to the victims of crimes of illegal migrants, illegal criminal migrants, some of who have felony assaults, DUIs, felony larceny. These are the people that they are taking off the street and further attempting to take off the streets there.
Very much a purple state. And keep in mind, there's a big Senate race right now when you have the governor who was really reasonably popular, Cooper, when he left. And then you got Michael Whatley, who ran the RNC. So they're going to, Whatley's going to embrace this. And he's going to say, no, I'm for this. And Cooper's going to go the other direction. So people in North Carolina are really going to have a choice to make.
Yep.
All right, Operation Sharp.
So,
Yeah.
and that last one, and
I broke the law. I'm terrified that I'll be caught. So when these deputies came looking for this guy they had a warrant on, I was terrified because I thought they'd be after me because I know I broke the law. Oh, yeah. Okay. So we're supposed to be feeling sorry for you because you broke the law. These are criminal trespassers. It's like you just took a 2-week vacation and you come home and you find somebody has decided to camp out and squat in your garage, or you have a rental property and somebody moved out, you go by to clean it up and you find there's a squatter that broke in and he's mad at you because you want your property back. Yeah.
right, and so he's targeting states, specific cities and states that created these sanctuary laws.
Okay, we've got an idiot for a mayor here. His name is Lee Harris, along with some idiot Democrats that
In
joined
Memphis.
and filed the lawsuit. This is in Memphis in Shelby County to stop the governor, the attorney general for the state of Tennessee, and the commander of the Tennessee National Guard from sending in enforcements to enforce the law. They have arrested quite a few, several hundred going on thousands of felons who had outstanding but unserved warrants. They rescued some kidnapped children, some kidnapped people, and they have one incident where a National Guardsman found somebody out by the airport who had OD'd on opiates, and he gave her that drug right on the spot that saved her life. And, you know, you've got all of these incidents where you have ICE, DEA, ATF, you've got National Guardsmen, U.S. Marshals, you've got the Tennessee State Police, Tennessee Bureau of Investigation, the Shelby County Sheriff's Department, Memphis Police Department, Bartlett Police, Collierville Police, Germantown Police, and they're getting a handle on crime, but they're still homicides. There was one at the biggest mall in Memphis. Somebody got into a mess, and it turned out they may have been not legally here, and there was a shootout and somebody died. That was
So,
yesterday.
yeah, so just swinging it back because listen, they're doing their job. You were here illegally. If you here legally and you have your papers, they ain't coming for you. And if
This
they
is
knock on your
wrong.
door, just show them your paper. So
This is wrong to make these trespassers feel guilty or nervous about trespassing.
well, speaking of immigrants, I want to briefly, so just two more things, this and one more thing. So I just want to bring this up because I'm really tired of Black politicians, um, these Black talking heads in the NAACP and these other Black organizations. The narrative is to equal illegal immigrants as immigrants and saying they're the same as Black Americans.
They're not.
They're not. But I want to play this clip here because this is a president of the NAACP out of Charlotte, North Carolina, right? Speaking about this. And she may be a tether. Corrine Max something. Let me know if you can hear it.
Everyone within the sound of our voices.
Can you hear that?
No.
In the sound of our voices.
It's not even moving.
That it was immigrants who built this country.
Can you hear that?
No. No.
Would you mind going out and coming back in? I don't understand. Like, if I share a screen, hear it. But if I have a video already plugged in, he can't hear it. I don't know. All right, let's try it now.
Okay.
Africans.
I hear something.
Enslaved.
All right.
I just want to start with reminding everyone within the sound of our voices that it was immigrants who built this country. Africans who were enslaved, who had no opportunity for freedom or even freedom of thought, were in fact immigrants. Now, we're talking about immigration as if it's something over there or over there. But the harm to every immigrant is harm to every one of us. In this country, we want to believe that the Constitution has protected us all, and in fact it has not. But that doesn't mean that we can't work to ensure that it does. In the Charlotte-Mecklenburg area, there are people standing behind me who have committed to ensure we are going to protect the people of this residence. We hope that includes all of you. From 2016 to 2020, I would go to hearings to stop deportations. And in those hearings, there'd be no one there but myself and maybe two other people. So this is not a new concept. This is a more egregious concept. We have a little man sitting in 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue who really believes that Hitler was the greatest man ever on earth, whose whole vision is to be just like Hitler, and is trying to create a 1940s Germany right here in the United States. And like,
I don't feel like listening to her whole
That
thing.
bullshit narrative is more applicable to her and her party. And what I'm listening to is a classic example of not whether you're listening to a fool, but how big a fool can the fool be? That is ridiculous.
And it's ridiculous to say that enslaved Africans were immigrants.
The hell does that have to do with a damn thing?
Oh, we were not. That's not what we're not.
I know it doesn't have anything to do with it.
Because she's trying to say that they have just as much right to be here as Black Americans.
Hell no.
Now, I have another clip. This is shorter than.
If you're here legally, I don't care what the hell you are. Cool. Welcome. You're on the team. But you come and crash the damn gate. You don't sit on the bench unless you paid your dues.
Crash the gate. And that's exactly what they did.
And see, there are people from where they came from that waited in line. These folk are bogarting the line, jumping to the front without, like, what the hell? What made you think you can jump to the front of the line and then crash in to see the movie without paying the fee?
Let me know if you can hear this.
Do you agree with Governor Pritzker?
It's not doing anything. He's just standing there.
Illegal alien enforcement.
I hear nothing.
Criminal illegal aliens.
Why the fuck why is it that you can never hear the video?
I have no idea. I have a new phone. I just can't turn it on. But I'll leave. I didn't hear anything. Let me go back again.
Do you agree with Governor Pritzker?
All right. Let's see.
Let's try it again.
All right. Let me know.
Do you agree with
I hear.
Okay. All right. So listen to this, because this is crazy too.
I don't see a picture.
Do you agree with
I see a picture.
Governor Pritzker that you want? Do you agree with Governor Pritzker that you want federal law enforcement to work with local law enforcement to get rid of criminal illegal aliens?
Let me begin by answering that question with
Telling you I don't believe anyone is an illegal alien. That's a terrible term to use about anyone.
It's a legal term.
It's not a legal term. They used to call black people slaves legally.
Oh, damn. Here
It was
comes that
wrong.
tired Negro narrative.
Let's stop dehumanizing people. Let's start treating people right.
Your dog's going crazy.
Hold
So-
on a second. That's what's going on here. Trained dogs here. It's embarrassing. Completely embarrassing.
Why your dog's not in bed?
Because it's not even 9-something yet.
Yes, it is. It's past 9 o'clock. It's about to be 11 o'clock where you at.
Oh, it is. Well, yeah, I guess it is.
Let me
Going
say, he goes to bed at 8 o'clock. He's over there.
Oh, they're night dogs. They're night wolves.
Snipe my ass.
Do you agree with Governor Pritzker that you want federal law enforcement to work with local law enforcement to get rid of criminal illegal aliens?
Let me begin by answering that question.
Oh, Negro, please sit your ass down.
Telling you I don't believe anyone is an illegal alien.
Who's getting cut
That's
out
a
of the
terrible term
job?
to use
But
about anyone.
they aren't
It's illegal.
supposed
It's
to
illegal.
work. They're entitled to be fed and taken care of like they never grow up, or they're domestic animals living on a farm with the farmer taking care of them, and they're a petting zoo since they don't have to do any work. Okay, why don't you start spreading the word? Get a job. Working is cool. It's dignified. It's what men and women ought to do. And
Who
then
you talking about? Are you talking about him?
I'm talking about this colored boy over
Yeah,
here.
he's the representative for the state of Illinois.
Yeah, I know.
He's a politician, and he's talking about some. Well, I don't. That's wrong to use to say illegal
I
immigrant.
heard that.
That's wrong. And then he was saying, well, it was wrong to call somebody a slave. But first of all, slave was legal. Illegal immigrant is a legal term. Slave at a certain point was legal.
The illegal immigrant is a criminal trespasser. He crashed a location that was posted no trespassing. He came anyway, and he tried to squat on the property. So he's a trespasser, and this fool wants to say, oh, come on in and take it over. He's an idiot.
Right. And so that's what I'm saying. The disrespect.
How big a fool can a fool be?
So the disrespect coming from whether you're Jasmine Crockett's, whether you're this guy here, Representative Chris Welch, whether you are the president of the Charlotte NAACP chapter, Reverend Corinne Mack, it doesn't matter. We are not the same. Black Americans are not immigrants. We're not. Immigrants are different from us. So illegals, we never know. So we were illegally after, but no.
People have been brought in and made members of the team after going through all of the qualifications.
Through hell.
Yeah, and now you want somebody to cut to the front of the line and then sneak in without having to pay the fare.
And then no one did not capture these illegal migrants and brought them here. You chose to come here. You walked here in a caravan, and the Biden administration opened the door for you.
And then, wait a minute, let's not forget Al-Qaeda, ISIS, Hamas, Iran, North Korea, People's Republic of China, and many other and sundry enemies, rational and fanatical, mix of both or whatever, who are just jumping for joy and creaming all over themselves that they didn't have to go play suicide bomber. They could come in, get transported around with their military grade explosives and their unchecked backpacks and blow something up. Let's talk about the drug cartels that are looking at the huge markets that are untapped Let's look at the sex offenders who have a huge market of victims. Let's look at the homicide of, the people who have been convicted of various and sundry homicides that now have so many opportunities to ply their trade. Let's look at the folk who are now, and that was the hang up as to why the government got shut down so long, unfunded, who get free medical care that a lot of Americans can't get, and up to $5,000 a month for a family of 4 illegal trespassers who crashed the gate that a lot of Americans wish they could come close to sniffing at. Yeah, how about that?
Right.
Jackasses, and they all are telling the same lame game from the same lame game plan that sounds like there's some kind of manifesto for socialism, like there was 80 years ago for another National Socialist Party.
Right.
The National German Socialist Party, the acronym for which uses the letters NAZI. Those were the Nazis. So we've got modern day Nazis, National Socialist Party here in the U.S., known as the Democrat Party, now probably more accurately known as the American Nazi Party.
Well, this is the last thing. O.J. Simpson. It came out today. He done passed on. He passed
He's dead.
last year.
And Rod Goldman's estate's trying to get money.
Well, no. It says actually the Simpson estate accepted $58 million claim from Fred Goldman.
Yeah, in other words, claim, so what? Now that means OJ's 2 daughters won't get any money that otherwise would go to them because Goldman, who was a pervert hanging around with Nicole, who owed every drug dealer in West Hollywood, California, a whole lot of money. And by the way, OJ was acquitted, and the reason that everybody thinks he did wrong was because of a sleazy somebody who was trying to break into Hollywood, and her name was Nancy Grace, who misreported and lied about what was going on during the course of the trial, and people were at that time relying on their reporters as being possessed of integrity, which she does not. So that's one of the reasons everybody.
Let me read this real quick. The father of Ron Goldman is closer to getting some money from O.J. Simpson, though it won't be the millions awarded by a jury decades ago when the late football and movie star was found liable for the young man's fatal stabbing. Simpson's estate has accepted a $58 million claim from Fred Goldman, an amount that far exceeds its assets. It won't be $58 million plus interest. It would be a voluntary payment. That's the point, the estate executor said on Monday. The estate executor said he's still hoping to round up $500,000 to $1 million in total assets. O.J. Simpson, he passed away. He died of prostate cancer in 2024 at the age of 76, and he was found not guilty in a 1994 knife slaying of his ex-wife, Nicole Brown Simpson, and Ron Goldman.
By the way, since I saw the evidence in the evidence room and my brother was brought in by the state as an expert in knife killing, and talking to some other witnesses, it was 2 people that did that, not one, and OJ was not one of the people. His civil defense team was no way, no how on par with his criminal defense team, essentially because he'd run out of funds, and it is what it is. And as I just got through saying, America thinks he did something wrong because of that sleazeball Nancy Grace, who lied about what was going on in the court so she could break into Hollywood.
So it says LaVerge, he is the estate, LaVerge, I think that's the attorney for the Goldmans, but accepted a claim of 58. No, that's the estate executive.
The state just said here, you know, what did you
Can
got?
I just read it? Can I just read it? Thank you. So O.J. Simpson's state executor accepted the claim of $58 million, according to court documents filed Friday in Clark County, Nevada, but not 117 million, the figure that was sought. Accepting a claim signals they won't be any time consuming litigation over it. Fred Goldman's attorney said the estate has accepted the claim as valid, but it does not constitute payment. We will continue to closely monitor the probate proceedings. So
You know what? It would read more accurately if a $58 million claim was delivered to the OJ estate and they said they would not contest the amount, but that there was.
I didn't see why they didn't just say that, because that makes sense. That's
I
exactly
know
what
that
it is.
it's piss poor reporting. They don't know
And
shit
I'm reading
about
it
what
as
they're
it
doing.
is. So it's like, if it sounds crazy, I sound crazy. I'm reading as it. Just say
I
that.
know
They're
you
not
are.
gonna,
That's
they're
why
not
I was interjecting. It's just bullshit reporting. In other words, incompetence. You don't need to know what you're doing when you do it.
So basically, his estate saying, we're not going to contest it, but that doesn't mean we're going to pay you.
It's just here. You delivered us a $58 million claim. We said we weren't going to contest. We don't know if there's anywhere near enough money to pay any much out. But yeah, okay, we'll work with you. And meanwhile, his two children and his grandchildren don't get anything.
And I have another question real quick. His father, Fred Goldman, like, dude, you saying that you constantly want this man, you wanted this man to pay you over decades, and it's not justice because he was found not guilty. It's been a whole bunch of documentary evidence that came out after that to concur he was not the killer. So why do you want these millions? See, people are
greedy.
Yes. And that was your son. That's some shit that him and that girl Nicole was into. But you
They
just
weren't
want
into anything. He wasn't of that persuasion. Nicole
he was just caught up at the wrong
allegedly
place
had
at the wrong
some
time.
interesting associates, and there were allegedly a whole lot of drug transactions, and allegedly she was a good source for good drugs.
So he got caught up wrong place, wrong time.
Wrong place, wrong time.
Wrong hoe.
Yeah. And in the blood on the scene, there are two sets of footprints. One's a size 9 and one's a 10.5. And OJ wore a size 12. If it does not fit, you must acquit. Richard Zuckerwar was the guy that made the gloves. I used to ski with him, and he took a hand tracing. Furman has a size L. The glove was a size L. OJ's hand is a size 2XL. So that's why Johnny Cochran, when I somewhere still have his cell phone number. We used to talk. I've known him have known him for 60 years. He's dead now, of course. If you does not fit, you must acquit. They knew it didn't fit. Also, 10 cc's of his blood was supposed to be given to his defense team for independent analysis. It turned up missing, and then it turned out to have been brought back to the scene and planted as evidence. All kinds of things. The people that towed the Bronco said there was no blood in it when they transported it, but 11 days later, when they were going to take it to the crime lab, it was covered in blood. The person that did the fatal stabbing was a left-handed person who was expert enough to kill Nicole and Rod Goldman with the same blow through the aorta into the two upper chambers of the heart, a left-handed person. And then after they were killed, their throats were slit from ear to ear and tongues pulled out with a pair of pliers. That's a Columbia necktie. That is not OJ.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, basically the jury stayed out 30 minutes because in spite of all the hoopla, there was no evidence to hook OJ up. Nancy Grace said there was devastating DNA evidence, but the expert who was the third DNA expert to testify and train the other two said they were poor students in his class. He said there were 95,000 other people in the LA area that could have donated a similar sample that got analyzed. And this was definitely not OJ, just someone similar who had ancestry, let's see, quote, from the Northeast Mediterranean area or from the island of Sicily. And also testifying during the course of the trial outside the presence of the jury were two people in a federal witness protection program who indicated that they thought the homicide was a message to them to keep their mouths shut. Why? Because they dated two of Nicole's sisters.
Okay.
Now,
I did say that was it. I just got one quick thing, and it's about DEI. Because your frat brother, Roland Martin, is mad.
Roly-Poly Martin can keep his little sweet behind mad all he wants. He kissed so much of Obama's ass, and now that we find out Obama was running to the bathhouse, what does that imply?
So he's mad at Pharrell Williams. He is a music producer, and he was asked a question about politics, and this is basically what he was saying.
As we look at what's going on, the current political climate, I'm just saying to y'all, I hate politics.
Wait, hold on for a second. I don't want to get no damn clip where it's fucking music. Like, give me a second. I can't stand that. I don't want to hear that shit. Like, why do people got to put music when they're posting something?
Why they got to go dance out in front of a polling place like that's got anything to do with the issues?
Right. Let me see. What is this?
Like little monkeys. Where's the organ grinder and the little silver chain that's around their neck as they bounce around?
I guess the whole thing has music in it. But it says here, do you want the job because you're black or because you're the best? Pharrell Williams explains why he hates politics and says supporting a business shouldn't be based on someone's skin color, but because it's the best or they're the best.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think we can even really hear him. Let me see.
It's a
You can't hear
well,
that.
I mean, you can read it.
Yeah.
And you read it, so that's what he's saying. And yeah, that's about the way it goes. But the way the Democratic Party has been running its business is it's not about performance, excellence, or acumen for the position. It's if you've got the color, then you're supposed to get it. And of course, roly-poly is Buck rolling his eyes all over the place. So there you go.
He said, Pharrell, stop saying dumb shit. Roland rips him for saying politics is a magic trick and not real.
Yeah, well, the way the Democrats do, it's a magic trick because I can't see how anybody with a given set of intelligence thinks they're actually getting much from the Democratic Party outside of a trickster's illusions.
Should we play a little bit of Roland Martin?
No, please. He's irritating.
That's just the first 30 seconds.
He's irritating.
I just wanted just the first 30 seconds, please.
So Avis mentioned Pharrell, and I saw this video on social media, and I just sat there and said, here's another example of an entertainer not knowing what the hell they are talking about and sounding utterly clueless. Now, I don't know where this was. It was at some event. All right, I don't know. Again, I roll a clip.
Well, why are you playing
look at what's going on?
Huh?
Why are you playing it? And why are you giving us that unnecessary surplusage? I don't know where it was, but it was at some event. That's such bullshit.
he be it's like he literally be having a stroke, honey, if it's somebody black.
And got his arms closed, which in body language is being extremely closed and defensive. So yeah, he's not
And
feeling well.
everybody is stupid. Everybody is dumb except for him. And
I've met
the
him a few
Democrats.
times on, believe it or not, a couple of appearances on Larry King Live.
Oh, you met Roland Martin.
Oh yeah, more than once. He's a little short, egotistical fool.
What, did y'all have a conversation or?
Yeah, me and somebody that I knew who was a PhD and got 2 degrees at the same time from 2 different universities. We sat there and looked at him, and when he got through, we said, you know, he ain't that bright.
Well,
But he thinks he is. I had a political science degree, so I know these things. I said, I did too, but I went to a better university than you did. And they didn't have affirmative action when I went. So, yeah, okay. That was a minor, actually, that I declared as a major.
well, honey, he be having a hissy fit.
Oh, well, he's the type that gets hissy fits.
But if it was a celebrity that was pro Democrat, pro everything what he believes, oh yeah, put him up, let him talk. He know what he talk about. But because Pharrell said the opposite of what he believes, this is why celebrities shouldn't talk. But any other time you have a whole bunch of celebrities.
Yeah, but he got his TV stuff and notoriety by being Obama's ass kiss. So that's how he got it, pushing the Obama campaign and got brought to people's attentions. And they said, oh, he makes a good Negro, so let's give him a position.
Right. All right. That's it. Thank you, Judge. Oh, we have a couple of
I don't like folk that are that deep into being plantation Negroes.
Well, somebody called you one. This is Freedman's Network. He said old Joe got his raccoon shoes on again, going hunting for some Trump possum meat.
Who is this?
Freedman's Network.
Bunch of punk ass plantation Negroes that don't have the manhood to stand up and act like a man. They are some sissies who love getting told what to do and getting their kibbles and bits opened up and spread before them by their masters and get these little taming treats. They get passed out. What is it, the greenies that the dogs like so much that help them keep their breath from being too stinky? That's what they are. Plantation Negroes who have done very little in life to advance the cause of their people. So, what is it? STF up and go man up.
Right. All right.
Punks.
Punks.
You want to compare resumes? I can take a little pick any.
No, it's not that serious. It's not that serious.
It's like pick a part of your resume, put your whole damn thing up there, and you can go just cherry pick part of mine. It'll overmatch whatever you have.
All right, I'm tired. Good night, Judge.
Negroes for the barn. Black folk to the vanguard into freedom. Yeah. Black Americans versus American blacks. Yeah.
All right. Good night.
Yeah. Okay.
Good night, guys. I gotta get this. Let me get this outro up. Outro. Oh, okay. There you go. All right, everybody. Good night. Make sure you like, share, and comment below. And I will see you in the next video. See you on Wednesday. Bye.